Okay. Okay, we're good. We're good. Point changes. Oh, the shocking number of point changes we had to the Genestealer Cult. There was none. None at all. It was a very light balance patch, as was the previous one, but I haven't done one of these videos or live streams for, I don't know, 9 months now? So that can cover a few changes that have happened in the past. Never mind about no changes. It's good that there's no changes. We can cope with no changes. Some people who play tournaments every weekend will be like, the meta's the same. This is awful and boring and stale. And to them I say, play other game modes. If you still want to play 40k, choose a Crusade mission. Choose a White Dwarf mission. Choose the asymmetric missions. Any of them. Try that, see how it goes. 2 times running, no update champion. Yeah. In fact, in the previous one, Games Workshop even forgot to mention that the Genestealer Cult exists. Oh, Caltin Cooper learned how to play Genestealer Cult from me and has been continually stealing genes. Good for you. Yeah, no updates means perfectly balanced. I'm still playing Final Day as my competitive detachment. I've enjoyed replaying Xenocreed quite a bit for the January videos. I've also enjoyed replaying the Brood Brothers Auxilia a bit. It's a fun detachment, so that can be the next one you expect from January. Don't know exactly when, but it will come out soonish enough. And then, of course, there's Outlander Claw, and then Final Day. Not necessarily in that order, probably in that order, because it's funny to have Final Day as the final day. Trying Final Day out in it. Yeah, you could do. It's going to feel very different to Outlander Claw. Okay. Oh, thank you very much for the monies that I got in last week's live stream, which has been enough for me to get the microphone, so the new microphone is ordered and is on its way. Now, of course, today we're going to be doing all of the Genestealer Cult units, and as we're doing all the Genestealer Cult units in a tier list, there's a thing that we always have to say with the Genestealer Cult. It's very hard to do a general tier list for the Genestealer Cult because many units are great in one detachment and very much lacking in the others. It's why each detachment would want its own ranking, because any unit apart from the Tectonic frag drill has a good use if you can use it correctly. The Magus seems bad, but the Magus is pretty good in the Xenocreed, so it's hard to rank them perfectly. So it doesn't quite matter how well they do in tournament lists, because new tournament lists can come up and change things around. Are Rogaldorns better than Russes in the Brood Brothers? I have opinions. We'll do it in the video next week. What would be the best stuff to get before 11th edition? I'll have to think on that and probably do a video about the best things to get or not get. Off the top of my head, Acolytes are cool just because Acolytes are a fun sprue at the moment. Neophytes are alright, but we don't know about their weapons. Aberrants are probably okay. We don't know if they'll switch up and do hammers and picks as separate, which I hope they don't do, because the Aberrant box comes with 5 Aberrants, 3 picks, 3 hammers, and 1 mining and 1 big sign. And the mining sign is one of the hammers' alternatives. So you can have a mining sign and 3 picks and a hammer, or similar variation. You could have like 3 hammers and 2 picks. They don't need making into their own separate abilities with different weapons. It's fine as just, these are the Aberrants and these are the Aberrants weapons. But they're an option, if you really like to build them. They're very quick to paint, that's for sure. We do need a use for the Tectonic frag drill. It just doesn't do, like, anything. Remember what I said in the meta video last week? Or earlier this week, if you just watched the video and not the live stream. Almost any unit can work in this detachment system that we have. there's some increase in difficulty to your game depending on the unit you pick. I accept and expect people to optimize so that you're not buying expensive models that don't work well on the table. Well, as I'm already partway through editing the Brood Brothers Auxilia, and then I'll do Outlander Claw. But the most, like half of the Brood Brothers Auxilia is done. I'm hoping to get that out very soon next week. There are many videos to come, so many videos. I have a list of videos, and I'm like, I'll do that one, and then there's something stopping me from doing that one, so I do a different one. Sometimes life just gets in the way, but thank you for the money. That was appreciated. Outlander Claw will come soon enough. The internal balance is lacking in 40k. Now people say, oh yeah, this is the most balanced edition, but it's still not balanced, and internal balance is a problem. Some detachments are clearly better than others. The Brood Brothers Auxilia, for example, is amazing because you can take Imperial Guard units, and you can't do that anywhere else, and that's just so unfair. So that's a top tier detachment, of course. I'm trying to think of one that's actually good that people don't like. Oh yeah, the Tyrannid one. Oh, the Final Day one. That's terrible because you pretty much have to have Tyrannids for it to work. It's the worst. Some people will think this. I do wish when people were making comments that they would say which detachment they're running where such a thing is good or bad. Hack and Shred, you really like the videos. Thank you very much. I will assume you are a Genestealer Cult connoisseur, in which case we still have several Genestealer Cult videos to come out. And then at some point Games Workshop's going to be like, hey guys, 11th edition's coming. It's like, oh, you want me to do things about that? Well, I'll do things about that when I can, if I want, if there's something interesting. Otherwise, if this is not meant to be a big shake-up, it might not be that bad of a change. Hoping to get the Outlander Claw running sometime soon? Yeah, good. You can do very similar tactics with trucks and tanks. Not tanks, but trucks. Definitely trucks. I don't know if they should go full digital on the codexes. I would love to have a full digital codex, just buy the digital version of the codex. And also, there is the codex that you can buy as a book, which has the lore and the art and explain a thing about every single unit. That would be nice. They really should show all stats for all 40k units if you're subscribed to a Warhammer Plus. Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous how you've got to get the app, buy the codex, buy all the codexes. If you want to make more than one army, also be subscribed. It's silly. No one in your area plays Genestealer Cult? That is not unusual. Yeah. Ah, right, more like Grotma. So everyone gets a detachment in a month, and then 2 months later or 3 months later, everyone gets another detachment. That could be interesting, rather than being like, hey, it's this person's codex now, later on it's this person's codex. Yeah, you could do something like that. They also want to tie in with model releases. Like, hey, maybe we get another character for the Genestealer Cult in the next edition. Wouldn't that be novel? Things have been somewhat lacking for cool new models. I mean, I'm not saying that there's been nothing. But the models we've got have been... yeah, they're present. Some of it's stuff that we already had, just resold to us. Like, oh, there's new Defiler. Okay, we already had that, but good to see a new model. Oh, there's new Mutilators. Okay, good to see that. We already had that. What new model would you give to Genestealer Cult if you could? Well, what about some bomb people that blow themselves up? At the moment, I'm strapping bombs to the back of Acolytes because it looks fun. More for the idea that someone would take the bomb off their back and then throw the bomb. But if we wanted to do that, that's an option. Give the Brood Brothers unit its own rules. There's so many different kinds of Brood Brothers in the lore. It's so interesting that I'm going to stick it in the next video about the Brood Brothers Auxilia. And the Imperial Guard do have 3 infantry units that are very much the same, with pretty much the same weapons. Oh yes, and the Genestealer Cult. Acolytes, and Metamorphs are basically the same unit. But we can get slight variation of it. Slightly. Could I make content about talking about lists that are doing well in tournaments and explain how they're being played? I have done that sometimes. The problem is people think then that's the only way to play, or why did I suggest something when the person who did well at the tournament didn't do that? I'm trying to make it so that you can set the meta, not just copying army lists, not just seeing what a particular thing worked well in a tournament, how can it work for you? In your games, with your opponents. I do it occasionally, if there's something really interesting or not just the meta that we keep talking about. Ambot for the Genestealer Cult, yeah. Sentinel with a Powerlifter, which we can take in the Brood Brothers Auxilia because it has Legends rules. But just have that. Again, it's a civilian vehicle. It would be interesting. Yeah, infected dogs. We saw that we had these flying eyeball mites in the Necromunda. Could be interesting there. Let the Brood Brothers have their own set of orders. There's a lot of ways the Brood Brothers Auxilia could be improved. One would be changing all of the stratagems. All of the stratagems. But never mind, that's a Brood Brothers thing. You can save comments for the Brood Brothers for that detachment. So some detachments are just not good. Specifically that one detachment for its detachment rule and its stratagems. But otherwise, it's pretty good. In theory. But we have no benchmark detachment that is generic. Something that says, okay, we have a detachment rule, it's made better, and all of the stratagems are just about using the units we have. Even the Host of Ascension is more shooting than combat. Even the Xenocreed Congregation, which has an enhancement that changes the army rule, so you get more resurgence points, that's about some specific units, the Acolytes, the Metamorphs, and sort of the Neophytes. Tweak resurgence points to let you bring back half a squad if it was a bigger squad. I could sort of see that working. Being like, hey, you want to bring back 5 models from a unit of 10 models? You could do that. If we could use it on vehicles, that would be good. Yeah. If we could use it on characters, that would be also rather useful. But I see where their thinking is, from a lore point of view, the cults tend to only have 1 Magus and 1 Primus. There was in 9th edition this rule of 1. You can only take each cult operative 1 time in a detachment. And then people just took multiple detachments because the way it worked was you get force organization charts and you copy that force organization chart over and over. Brood Brothers bringing back a tank? Yeah. There is a stratagem to bring back an infantry unit, not artillery, not a character. That exists, but it's only on a 3+. Yeah. But with the detachments, it also means that some units will work better in one detachment and be kind of terrible in another. They'll be terrible in another one. So the Patriarch doesn't do too much in the Outlander Claw, but has great power in the Final Day or the Biosactic Brute Surge. So I'll be going over the good ways to use each unit in key detachments. So we're looking at the meta right now. Generally. I'm not going to cover any Brood Brothers units that we get from Imperial Guard. That would be far too big and too long. Nor am I going to cover the Tyranids in Final Day. When those videos come out for January, then I will go through the different units that are good or not good. Alright, so there's a tier list table. Oh, they're so easy and fun and colourful. So S tier is units you want to have all the time in almost all detachments. The staples that you would take. A tier ones are generally good, with good use in most detachments. B tier ones are often overshadowed. They work pretty well. Maybe they work especially good in one detachment, but there is usually another unit that will usually do better than them. C tier ones are good in one particular detachment and not really anywhere else. You can make them work elsewhere, but it's far more effort than it's usually worth. And the D tier units, you don't include. It's not just that there's something better, it's that this is upping the difficulty of playing the army just by including it. Really ready for the Genestealer Cult DJ bashing? I hope so. Clamavus, so bad. Frag drill, S tier. If you want to make the game harder for yourself, you could do. It would be like playing with, I forget how many fewer points. Tectonic frag drill costs about 100 points. Yeah, 125 points. There you go. So if you're playing a 2,000 point game, you're playing with 1,875 points. Do I have any ideas on how ascension points, do you mean resurgence points, could be improved? Not particularly. I think it's alright as a system. It's good to have a bunch of stuff that you can say, okay, I need these guys, send in those troops as a second wave. I think it's a good way of doing it. I also agree, and have mentioned in videos before, I think the Nexus needs to take the Primus's redeployability, and the Primus gets something new, possibly swapping with the Nexus ability to have the one fewer command point stratagem thing. Then you can have the guy with the table at the back, having done his thing at the start of the game, while the Primus is in there fighting. A frag drill focused detachment. What an interesting thought. So how about we do this frag drill first? Frag drill, frag drill. So the frag drill. It can't move. It's got toughness 11. 14 wounds and a 3+ save. Oh, it's difficult to shift. There's no objective control. And enemies can charge it, but if they want to fall back from it, they don't need to take desperate escape tests. The best you can do with it as a fortification is put it in the way so that enemies can't go down one particular route. Like if they want to get into your deployment zone, then there's a narrow corridor. Oh, well, there's a tectonic frag drill in the way, so they can't go within an inch of it. Otherwise, it might actually work badly. They could charge it, and then they get closer to you. And it's in combat with one of your units, so you can't shoot them. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. When one of your cult ambush markers is removed by the enemy, then you can set it up within 9 inches of the frag drill. Or you can have an Iconward. Iconward does the same thing. Yeah. Does it even have a special rule like other fortifications? I mean, that's pretty much it. It gives you the benefit of cover, and it protects the cult ambush markers, which we don't need. And if you did get in combat with it, it has 6 attacks at strength 12, d6 damage, and only hits on a 6. It's not good, can't do anything with it really. It's if you want to play the game on harder mode. So what would you like the next one to be? Give me a comment and pick a different unit. Gonna be playing the Brood Brothers Auxilia for the 2nd time. Ooh. Wonderful. Enjoy that. The Magus. Yeah, we'll do the Magus. Magus. I'm gonna put them in C tier, I think. I have been playing them more, especially in the Xenocreed congregation. And they are workable. They work quite well. I was playing against Imperial Guard and Orcs, so that was part of it. -1 to hit on Orc shooting and Imperial Guard shooting, like on a big squad of Orcs, like looters, like flashgates, like even boys with the shooters. Or in a Rogel Dawn, or in a Baneblade. We're getting very specific, and you have to be within 18 inches to use that ability, but -1 to hit can just totally mess them up. That's like ignoring an order on that unit. So I've been playing the character more, and targeted, like, anti-stealth is very useful. Because you just pick an enemy unit that's good at shooting, and then it's like your whole army gets stealth against them. As long as you don't roll a 1. It's unfortunate that it's random whether it works or not. But I'm okay with that. I like a bit of random in my games. It is a dice game after all. If you're in the Xenocreed congregation, they're one of the good characters. They can take enhancements, like deeds that speak to the masses, so you get 2 more resurgence points. And if they get killed in the Xenocreed congregation, then you get vengeance for the martyr. That's one of the stratagems. And then you get rerolls of hit. Yeah, I think enemies, you get to reroll hit rolls, all the hit rolls. But it's only going to work on your Acolytes, your Metamorphs, and your Neophytes. They're the only ones that get the rerolls to hit. Yeah, that's right. You can use the Vengeance for the Martyr stratagem on any character, but only the Magus, Primus, or Acolyte Iconward will give them full rerolls to hit. Otherwise, it's reroll hit rolls of 1. Which can be funny. There's a lot of characters that are, yeah, about 50 points. The idea being you could just have them wander alone, and if you have a very cheap unit with objective control, at least 1, then you'll have a bunch of them. They'll wander on objectives, they'll do actions, and be very cheap while the rest of the army is fighting. Sure, you'll give up victory points for Assassinate. It's fine. It's fine. It'll be fine. So that's why they're all like 50 points at least. I think Games Workshop was like, okay, after like 8th edition, that's when they said, at this point, we need to have a minimum points value for like all of the units. Otherwise, people are taking these 27 and 35 point units and they're just doing all the actions. In fact, the game, by the end of 9th edition, became very much, you never take anything over a squad of 5. 10th edition did very well for opening it up and saying, okay, I'm going to have a big unit and I'm going to use a stratagem on them, and then I get a lot of use out of that stratagem. And because I'm putting a character in the unit, rather than as an aura, I'm getting more use out of the character. In 9th edition, it was auras of abilities. So like within 6 inches of the character, all units, or all core units, or all infantry units could get a benefit. Having the characters in units is much better. Right, so I'm sticking the Magus in C tier, because C tier is where we say, these are fine, they're good in 1-ish detachment. That's pretty much it. I don't think there's anywhere else I'm like, oh, I need to have them. No, not really. It's fine. It's fun. It works. Who are we doing next? The Jackals. I saw the Jackals. We'll do the Jackal Bikers. And then we'll do the Kelermorph. Jackal Bikers. That's a sniper. There we are. Jackal Bikers. This might be a debatable one. I'll put them there for the moment. So with the Jackal Bikers, they're now, and have been for a while, 2 resurgence points to bring back a unit of 5. 6 resurgence points for a unit of 10. So I don't do units of 10. Another reason I only do units of 5 is because the demo run caps at 6 mortal wounds. So if you have a unit of 5, you may get 5 mortal wounds. If you have a unit of 10, you could roll all 10 successes and you still cause 6 mortal wounds. You can combo that with a grenade stratagem and a mining laser from the Wolf Quad. I think the mining laser is the best when I've tried it. The incinerator is fine. If you want any combos like +1 to hit, lethal hits or sustained hits on the unit, you need a unit that has a gun that's not going to auto hit. Thinking A tier. Yeah, it could be A tier. Could be A tier. They can definitely bring down tough enemies that are far more than their points. And the demo run has a lot of flexibility. You can advance and do it. You can fall back and do it. And the scouting is nice. I like Scout. I like Scout because you know who's going to go first before you scout, unlike with, say, redeploying units with the Primus. You can block enemies, you can attack enemies, you can get round to where you want to be. If it was like, okay, the toughest enemy thing is on the right flank and I've deployed these on the left flank, I'll scout 9 inches rightwards, and then move 12 inches in the first movement phase, and then I can do a demo run. You can't advance and throw grenades, but you can advance and do a demo run. 10 works in Outlander Claw? Yeah, 10 works in Outlander Claw. That's fine. They do have stealth as well. Yes. You've got 2 wounds on all the bikers, 4 wounds on the wolf quad, so you've got 12 wounds for the unit, and they have stealth, so they're kind of hard to shoot. And they're pretty good for doing a very annoying thing which people have done since they existed, of move blocking. You turn the bike sideways, you have a unit of 5, so you only need to be in coherency with one other model, and you have a long line that's in front of like half the enemy deployment zone. Being mounted does hurt in ruin-filled battlefields. Yeah, because you can't go through the walls, you have to go round. But what you do with the bikes is you put them around a building, and then the enemy infantry can't get out. Maybe like an inch and a bit from the building. It depends if you're doing the wall blocking rule, which is a pain, where you've got to figure out, because you can't end your move within a wall, but you also have to be within engagement range of the enemy, that's 1 inches. There can be positions where you can't put the base to be in engagement range, even if it's a 3-inch charge and you can roll a 7 on the charge, you can't fit the base the other side of the wall because the ruin wall is in the way, and if you're in the ruin, then you're not within an inch of the enemy. So that's how you move block someone, or just say, I'm locking you into this ruin for now. It's kind of unpleasant, I don't like to do it. And I prefer infiltrating Purestrains. They cost the same points, I think, as Purestrains. Let me have a quick look. Atalan Jackals. Atalan Jackals cost 85 points for 5. Purestrain Genestealers are 75 points. Unless that has changed at some point. No, they're still 75 points. So I prefer the Purestrain Genestealers. Also have 2 wounds, and they have an invulnerable save rather than stealth. They infiltrate so they can block enemies much easier. They just say, okay, you're not coming this far or this far and no further. But I think A tier is good. They do decent damage. They're maybe not the best. They can work in fighting and shooting. They can work at blocking the enemy. I think the Genestealers are going to be better. And of course, if you're playing Outlander Claw, you want all the bikes. 3 squads of 5 bikes. That is the Tectonic frag drill right at the bottom. Very fun terrain piece. Alright, so if we're comparing the Jackals to the Purestrains, we'll do the Purestrains and then we'll do that Kelermorph man. You are free to comment which unit you want to have next in the comments chat section of the side. That's totally what it's there for your comments and such. Alright, the Purestrains. Purestrains. Where's a picture of a Purestrain? There's a picture of a Purestrain. Ooh, do we put the Genestealers of the Genestealer Cult right at the top? Maybe, maybe. Very good infiltrate. They can fight off enemy infiltrators and screening units. Like, they can kill pretty much any other infiltrating enemy unit. Poxwalkers, they can scythe through. Space Marine Scouts. The Tau stealth suits. They have a lot of wounds. There's 5 of them now, rather than 3. And they've got 2 wounds per model. That's 10 wounds, but we can do that. With a unit of 5, we can almost do that. Anything else that infiltrates or scouts, like the World Eaters, long-legged berserker cultists, we can kill them very quickly. If you have a squad of 10, what you do is you deploy them first in a long line across the middle of the battlefield. Like right in the center. And block off as much of it as you can, so the enemy infiltrators can't really go anywhere. And then you use the Primus to redeploy that unit before the game starts, and you put them somewhere sensible. Do that in like all of the detachments, but in the Outlander Claw, you should have enough Jackal bikers that can scout forward 9 inches. And Ridge Runners can scout. Ridge Runners can scout. You've got a lot of scouting things. You can still keep the enemy back, or counterattack them. You'll know whether you're going first or second at that point. That's one of the benefits of Scout. But even in the Outlander Claw, I'm thinking, I still would like some Purestrain Genestealers. In the final day, you can attach an Enhanced Patriarch and then have sustained hits, or you're not going to shoot Overwatch at me. And you can rush in, and there's the Hyperferocity stratagem, so you're hitting on 2+ with full rerolls to wound, and the Patriarch gives the unit devastating wounds. Or in the Biosanctuary Brood Surge, you get even more attacks, so it's 5 attacks per Purestrain. They're a very important unit for rushing at the enemy, putting them in front of the enemy, not necessarily charging, just being something that's in the way, so the enemy has to shoot them out the way, or they get as far as charging them but can't go any further, which gives you time to seize the objectives. You didn't know that Ridge Runners scout? I rarely do scout with the Ridge Runners. I tend to just wait at the side, but yes, Ridge Runners have Scout 9, same as the Jackal Bikers. Yeah, they're good in the Outlander Claw, just to say, no infiltrating for you, or at least half the board. With a squad of 5, you can say, half the board is not where you're going to infiltrate, I have an area where I can move forward. Or you can infiltrate onto an objective, especially if it's like the table quarters setup. I can't remember what they call it now. Even if I said the name, most of you wouldn't know the name of it in terms of deployment map. You can say, okay, this one objective on the left-hand side, I'm going to start on it, and I'm hidden, and I'm just going to start doing actions right away. A lot of people didn't know the Ridge Runner can scout. While I rarely scout, it's sometimes just to move forward behind a building, but yeah, they can scout 9 inches. It's not something they're known for. And a unit of 5 Purestrains, 2 Resurgence points, great choice to come back, drop them in and complete secondary missions. Did we see the Resurgence video I did earlier this week? About Resurgence points, the best way to spend your Resurgence points? In all of the different detachments, I went over how to spend them. I also went over the different size of games and how to spend them. 6 Resurgence points in 1,000 point games. 10 Resurgence points in a 2,000 point game. Good. Good, as long as people saw that. I do like how all of your names are coming up in like purple and blue and green. Very Genestealer Cult colours. That's nice. 10 mana for the Patriarch, 5 mana to keep bringing back. Very good options. Even in like Biosanctuary Brood Surge or the final day, I would say unit of 10 with the Patriarch, unit of 5 just infiltrating. But you can vary it depending on what you want from your detachment. Xenocreed Congregation. It's all about the Metamorphs. But actually it's going to be also about the Genestealers. I like being able to advance and charge from a Resurgence marker. A Cult Ambush marker. Like once we've been destroyed, then we can come back in the enemy turn and then advance and charge in our coming turn. That's great. So we wanted to do the Kelermorph. We are agreed then that the Genestealers are S tier for the Genestealer Cult. I would hope so. It would be awkward if the namesake was just bad. But we'll do our Kelermorph. Kelermorph. There he is. Gunslinger. I'll put him there at the moment just so it's a nice column. The Kelermorph is the one with the gun and doesn't have a cowboy hat, even though you think he has cowboy hats. He's a lone operative, so he's a character that can perform actions and not likely to get shot. Also the Reductus can do this. Also the Sanctus can do this. And let me check the points value of like these characters. I'm pretty sure the Kelermorph is not even the cheapest one. Kelermorph points, right. Get all of the list of points. 23, page 23 of the points document. Or even page 22 of the points document. Yeah. So our Kelermorph is 60 points. Uh-huh. I thought he was 55. The Sanctus is 50 points. The Reductus Saboteur is 65. Can you spare 5 points for a Reductus Saboteur? I really hope you can, because they're better. They're the ones that can infiltrate. The Kelermorph can't infiltrate. The Kelermorph can deep strike. But if you wanted to have a character that's doing actions and can't be shot, the Sanctus is the cheapest one. Otherwise, our Kelermorph is... yeah, there's not a lot of things he can do. Certainly not things he can do better than the other characters. Look good. Can look good. The pistols are 6 shots with devastating wounds, so you might get 1 devastating wound of damage 1. That's your odds. There's no way to up that. You can shoot an enemy, and if it's infantry, and if you hit it, then they have to take a battle shock test. It's not battle shocking them, but it might battle shock them. And you can move away if the enemy's within 9 inches, and you can shoot them when you do so. But you explicitly, with that, cannot embark inside a transport. That makes it especially awkward. Yeah, sniper's good for the reactive move. I prefer the sniper, generally. The knife is good for not being able to be hit by Overwatch, and then you can run into the middle of the board and do things in the middle of the board. The worm shot ammo should come back. That was pretty good. Yeah, I mean, even the index version, I'm sure he was better in the index. Because you could drop him in, you could deep strike like 3 inches away from the enemy at the time, as long as you were also near to another Genestealer Cult infantry unit. So you could drop in loads of Neophytes and they do stuff. The Kelermorph drops in, completes an action on the objective. Yeah, the other characters are going to be way better. And he lacks infiltrate, and I don't know why. His reactive move is 9 inches, but the enemy could shoot him if they're within 12 inches. Yeah, the flat 6-inch reactive move of the sniper Sanctus is going to be better. But you can use the Kelermorph in boarding actions. The enemy comes down a corridor, you shoot them and then move away. That's about all you've got. Just going to make a note. Right, I think we're deciding the bottom tier. I mean, there's your 5 different letters. Which place do you think the Kelermorph should be in? I've put him in B tier at the moment just to be in a place. D tier is probably where they're going to end up. Used to be able to embark after shooting. Now, when it was just a normal move, you could. But I think explicitly it says in the hypersensory ability, because it's called hypersensory ability. So the hypersensory ability, you can shoot as if it's the shooting phase and then make a normal move of up to D6, but you cannot embark in a transport. Whereas the Sanctus sniper, I'm pretty sure they can. There's rarely a time you would want to. But yeah, that's just a normal move, and you can end a normal move in a transport. You can embark in a transport after a normal move. Better than the Magus? Oh, I don't think so. What's he doing as far as debuffs go? Causing a battle shock test within 12 inches if you have line of sight? So we've got 2 C's, we've got a few D's. I'm going to say D tier. It doesn't actually have a cowboy hat. That's another reason to put them in D tier. Right, with so much talk about the Sanctus sniper as a good comparison, let's do the Sanctus. Because they can do the things that the Kelermorph would do, or that the Reductus saboteur would do, but the Sanctus is 15 points cheaper. 50 points compared to 65 points. So if I'm on a budget army, I'll usually go for the Sanctus rather than not have anything. Because what else are you going to get? Like 50-point character in a unit? Like a Magus? Yeah, maybe you want that, but having more operatives doing stuff is usually better. They're not very good at the assassination thing. They have been useful. I've used them a few times. You can run at an enemy and don't bother about the precision, just stab the enemy and you get to wound them on a 3+, anti-infantry 3+ knife. And if you use the Psychic Spur on that unit, then you can reroll hit rolls and wound rolls. It's AP -2 dagger, 2 damage. So you can go and stab a bunch of Space Marines. You can definitely kill your points worth of Space Marines. More so if they're like Stern Guard or Assault Marines with jump packs. The sniper rifle is okay. It's one shot hitting on a 3. You've got precision, you've got anti-psyker. If there's ever a psychic unit in the enemy army, that's going to be the psychic spur, and then you can reroll hit rolls and wound rolls. You can also pick psychic spur on like a light vehicle, like a rhino. You'll wound them on a 5, but you've got the reroll, so you might be able to do 3 damage to them. The sniper is not really what we're caring about. It's the special abilities that come with it. Creeping Shadow, if you have a sniper, the enemy ends a move within 9 inches of you, and you make a move of 6 inches. Get the other side of a wall, get out of line of sight, get to where you can't be shot. Then in your next turn, you can step out and shoot the enemy, or do a thing while someone else kills the enemy that was nearby. Yeah, Sanctus is incredible. Yeah, I'd say Sanctus is pretty good. The Reductus Saboteur, I think, is better. Why was the Sanctus be especially good in Crusade? A few of you are saying they're good in Crusade. You can also make your own very similar, almost Sanctus in the new Crucible of Champions. It's in the Maelstrom book that's come out. Has anyone got the Maelstrom book? But you can make like, you can give them the Bio Dagger of the Sanctus and also the Sniper Rifle of the Sanctus and have both parts. The Crusade rules, you can buff them up. Yeah. Okay, now I said... Let's see. Where did I rank things on the tiers? I said the A tier ones are generally good units with good use in most attachment. B tier is with the overshadowed units, where they work, but there's another unit that does it better. I think for what we're saying, A tier might be where it is. I'll have to have a look at Crusade Sanctus again, because I have a Sanctus in Crusade. They don't hit anything. I just use them for actions. Crusade, Sanctus, White Dwarf. Okay, we'll go with A tier. So we need something for this B tier hole. What character or unit would you like to do next? Sabotage. Yeah, Sabotage Lady. Okay, Sabotage Lady. Where's Sabotage Lady? Ah, yes, there you are. Oop. Well, if we're putting the Sanctus in A tier, I'm pretty sure the Reductus Saboteur goes in S tier. S for Saboteur. Reductus, right. So it's a character that can infiltrate. It's a character that has stealth. It's a character that has lone operative. It's a character that has about every ability and keyword you could possibly need. And some very good abilities. So very good. So very good. We have grenades for free. That's a very important one if we want to hurt things. We tend not to have very high strength attacks. The Abominant is probably what has the biggest strength attack. Or the Benefictus. Both strength 12. But we're talking characters then. There's not units packed with them. Grenades is what we use. You've also got the Demolition Charge, a good Demolition Charge, because it hits on a 3+. You can combine that in Final Day or Brood Brothers Auxilia with their respective detachment rules to get another +1 to hit. So now you've got a Demolition Charge that hits on a 2+. Strength 9, AP -2, 2 damage. You can boost that AP with a Ridge Runner if you wanted. You've also got the Remote Explosives that you can fire at the same time as the Demolition Charge. They're indirect fire. If you can sit in the middle of no man's land, and you can reach the enemy home objective, that's a great place to be hitting like Tau Fire Warriors, Kroot, Cultists, Chaos Cultists, D6 +3 shots, indirect fire so you don't need line of sight, hitting on a 3 normally, so you're hitting on a 4 with indirect fire, and it's strength 5. So even like tougher things that are toughness 5, you could hurt. Or anything that's toughness 4, you can still hurt it. And then you've also got the Planted Explosive. so enemies move within 9 inches of her. If you can be on an objective and also out of line of sight, the enemy's gonna have to come onto the objective to claim it, and you can set off the bomb. Maybe you don't set it off for the Gretchen. That's sensible, that's what they want you to do. Kill them with something else with hand flamers, or with the remote explosives. And then when something of value, like orc boys or bikers or a truck comes onto the objective, then you use the planted explosive, and on a 2+, D3 plus 3 mortal wounds. I don't think I've rolled a 1 for this ability, whereas everything else I have. Many, many mortal wounds. Right, you've never done 3 Reductus saboteurs, because you can only use one of the bombs once per turn. Yeah, and you can only use grenades once per turn. What you do when you have 3 of them is you can put one on an objective that's probably not going to get touched. If you have an objective marker that's closer than the other ones, put one there, put one in the middle of the board, and then you sort of rotate them in. You can have one start in your deployment zone and rotate them in. So turn 1, there's a problem for the enemy. Turn 2, there's another problem for the enemy, and you get to blow them up. Turn 3, you got another one. Or turn 4. 50-50 on the boom going off. Oh, it's on a D6 rolling, not a 1. Yeah, so you've got to rotate them in and out. I usually take 1 because I'm in the habit of, it's like 9th edition, it works best. If there's one of every kind of super special character, then it's fun. Yeah, you can keep one in a truck. The important thing you can do with the truck is you could have a truck empty with the Reductus inside, and then get some Neophytes to sticky your home objective, then get the Neophytes into the truck and drive off. And you can keep shooting those indirect fire things. You can't use the demolition charge because you can't use one-shot weapons from the firing deck. It might have been a units video, yeah. Reductus saboteurs going in and out of a truck. Oh yeah, oh, I've also mentioned it in like all the Xenocreed videos. Many, many times has it come up as it's a good tactic that works. Unit gets out of truck, goes fights. Another unit that's not doing an action, not really going to have any impactful shooting, usually Neophytes, they can jump into the truck and then they're safe. Because you can advance and get into the truck. Then get out next time. Oh yeah, and then you're re-rolling all your wound rolls because of the truck. So yeah, hide in a truck, that's good. What's the thingy in D, not the Kelermorph? That's the Tectonic frag drill. Our fortification. Alright, we're happy with the Reductus Saboteur in S tier. You can also just do actions. You don't need to do all these bomb things. You've got the reactive bomb if the enemy comes close, but yeah, just do your missions. It's a fantastic character. Right, tell me what you want to get next. I'm doing more trucks at the moment. They're quite fun to build. Pretty easy to paint. Because you just mostly don't. You just undercoat them in one colour. Ridge Runners, Rock Grinder, Neophytes, Rock Grinder or Ridge Runner? Rock Grinder. Okay, we've got quite a few for the Rock Grinder. The Rock Grinder has grown on me. A little bit. It's grown on me a little bit. The Rock Grinder is there that can transport... Are people just saying Rock Grinder because that came out relatively recently in the Combat Patrol magazine in the UK? Get your Rock Grinder. Well, we finished the Genestealer Cult stuff in the Combat Patrol magazine. Last week was the Jackal bikers. And I think almost everywhere was like, 1 per person of this. You're not getting loads because it's £10 for the 5 bikers. Otherwise, they cost about £40 from Games Workshop. Or less if you go through my affiliates in the description. And the kit that can build the Rock Grinder can also build a truck. But that was sold over 2 magazines. So you'd have to buy like 4 magazines. Then £40 for 2 vehicles. In Games Workshop terms, that's not bad. Yes, now we have a light tank. It's not really a tank. Oh yeah, you can definitely convert these up. It doesn't have to be grinding through tunnels like rock grinding. You could give it a snowplow. I think that's fun. I have my Genestealer Cult. If you've seen photos of them, every now and then I put photos up of them. They're all on snow bases, so I could do that. Oh yeah, and absolutely should magnetize these. Or for at least the gun on the truck or the rock grinder, you don't need to magnetize it. It just kind of slots in. So you can have a rock grinder or a truck very easily and switch between them. Yeah, there's quite a few weapons you can pick. We have, of course, big mining laser. Now, unfortunately, this is the exact same mining laser as the Achilles Ridge Runner has. So if you just want the heavy mining laser, take the Ridge Runner. It's going to be better. The Incinerator is a heavy flamer. Well, 2d6 heavy flamer. Strength 6, AP -1, 1 damage. Yeah, that's okay. People don't really go for the heavy seismic cannon. Regular seismic cannons tend to do the job. Or if you actually want to do more damage, rather than 4 shots going up to 6 shots, you've got D3 mining laser shots, but with blast, and higher strength, and higher AP, and more damage. And then you can fight off tanks. So the Incinerator or the mining laser is generally what people do. Does anyone take the seismic cannon? Maybe if you know... I mean, it's unfortunate it's not damage 2, it's damage D3. But if you knew, oh, I always face Space Marines, then you might want the seismic cannon. Some people are doing the Incinerator. There's a spare seismic cannon. It'd be good for Host of Ascension. I don't know if you'd really want it in Host of Ascension. The problem is that vehicles don't do well in Host of Ascension. You've got to come from reserve. That's not quite the point of the vehicle. And while you can disembark with units that are inside the vehicle, they should also get the Host of Ascension bonus, or we have Deep Strike on all our infantry. Why would you be bringing them in from the side? It's quite good in the Outlander Claw and the Final Day, where you can use one of the stratagems in each to leave the board and come back on in like strategic reserves. And then you can shoot things from a better angle, maybe with Tyranids nearby. Swapping from the las cannon to the flamer in the list, you can do. Do units disembarking for a transport arriving from reserves also get the detachment rule? I'm pretty sure they do, because they started the turn in reserves. They're not allowed to charge, which is the rule for disembarking from transports, but I think because they started in reserves, even if they were in a vehicle that was in reserves, I think they should get the detachment rule. But really at that point, why are you not just having the infantry by themselves and then they deep strike? And that'll work better. It's cheaper than paying for the transport. So I generally do not suggest transports there. I mean, they are disembarking from a transport, but also that was a transport in reserves, so they were in reserves. I think that's how it works. I can't see why it wouldn't work like that. Games Workshop rules, though. Who knows? Who knows? As a transport, I find the Rock Grinder isn't great. It's not a dedicated transport, so you can't scout with Metamorphs. But you could put 5 Acolytes with demolition charges, jump out, throw the demo charges. Or you could protect and then speed forward some Aberrants. That can work in the Biosanctic Brood Surge. I know a lot of people are enjoying the Biosanctic Brood Surge. I don't think it really has the toughness to survive in most fights. If someone can kill a Rhino, they can kill this. It's toughness 10. That's only slightly tougher than a Rhino. I don't think it's running in and smashing stuff. Aberrant transport for 5 Aberrants in the Combat Patrol magazine? Yeah. Yeah, they can go together quite well. If you have a combat ability that doesn't really care about the Goliath truck in its ability to let you reroll the shooting shots, reroll wound rolls for shooting if you get out of a Goliath truck, yeah, that's a perfectly fine thing to do. It's quite a few more points though. The Goliath Rock Grind is 120 points. The only slightly weaker Goliath truck is 85 points. We're talking 35 points difference. It looks cool, but yeah. I think we're going to go with... do we go with C tier or is B tier alright? No, I think we'll go with B tier, because they can work in more than one detachment. They work in the Outlander Claw. They're alright in Final Day. They're like +1 to hit in combat. They work in the Biosanctic Brute Surge to transport more Aberrants together. Better than a Magus? Yeah, I think it's going to be B tier. So we'll leave them in B tier. And you can tell me what unit you want to do. Now, how do they compare to a standard Goliath? Very good question. Let's do the standard Goliath truck. Because the Goliath truck is toughness 9 rather than toughness 10. It can transport 12 models rather than 6 models. They're terrible in the Brood Brothers Auxilia? Many things are. It's not too bad. The Ridge Runner, the Rock Grinder might be better in the Brood Brothers Auxilia because at least you can get +1 to hit on its super big mining laser. What other weapons you got? It's got a Demolition Cache as well. And a Heavy Stubber. Those like +1 to hit. So it can also work in Final Day. I think it's fine. It's fine. It's grown on me. The more I've used it and tried to get it to work, the more it's grown on me. You got to try all of the units to see where they actually fit and where they're going to be good. Hypothetically. And then when some new detachment or something comes along, maybe in next edition, that's where you can say immediately, okay, I know the units that are going to be very useful for this right off because I know all of my detachment. I know all of my unit rules. So Goliath Truck, which is very similar. You got the Demo Charge Cache. It's got Blast though, so you can't use it if enemies are in engagement range. That's also a problem with the Rock Grinder. It hits on a 5+. It's not really super important. It's there to be kind of close to things and you throw it if you want. It's more than one use, so you can keep throwing this Demo Charge. That's good. You can keep a unit safe. You can rotate units in and out. Just sit on an objective with this truck. Unit gets in. It's safe-ish. At least it's not going to be destroyed this turn because they have to destroy the truck first. Usually that works. Then the unit gets out, and when they do, you get full rerolls to wound on their shooting attacks if the Goliath truck also shoots the same thing. You will need line of sight, of course, from both of them. That's usually not too difficult. Having it with Metamorphs who have Hand Flamers, this is my favourite place to put Metamorphs with Hand Flamers. Then you get full rerolls to wound. Acolytes with Hand Flamers already get reroll wound rolls of 1, or full rerolls to wound if attacking an enemy on an objective. So I don't bother putting them there. I find them much more useful to just drop in units of 5 with Hand Flamers. Neophytes can go inside, that's fine. You can put, say, the Reductus Saboteur inside or the Benefictus inside and keep using the firing deck. If you get Hazardous on the Benefictus's brain, the damage, the 3 wounds from Hazardous will go onto the truck rather than the Benefictus. Yeah, you can kind of block line of sight. Unfortunately, the way line of sight works, you can usually see like underneath the truck, because there is the slightest of tiniest of gaps, even if you build the wheels so that they're right up to the... I don't know if you can kind of see it on the pictures. You're advised in the building of it to put the wheels slightly higher inside the rock grinder and slightly lower inside the truck. It can get in the way of stuff physically. You wouldn't need the auger if you're using hand flamers, because the hand flamers ignore cover already. Spotter might be more useful in that situation, just to get the mortar to hit. Yeah, melt screens, things that get in the way, generally. Fun gunboat in Outlander Claw? We'll see when that video comes out. I think it's more about the bikes. There's some things you can do with the trucks, where you can have some models inside that are good and can do stuff. However, the truck is kind of fragile. I think it's probably going to be another B tier. Unless anyone really wants to advocate for like A tier. If you buy it, you get some spare Neophyte bodies. They're good. Yes, this tier list will separate the two Acolyte types. Yes. Yeah, it's alright. I mean, think of, say, rhinos in other factions' army. Everyone has a rhino. The Sisters have a rhino. All the Chaos factions have a rhino. The Space Marines have rhinos. I think the Custodes might have rhinos. Oh, they do for the Sisters of Silence. Deathwatch have rhino. Imperial Agents have rhinos. Rhinos are fine and good. The truck is fine and good. It has an autocannon. It's a decent one. Slightly more expensive than rhinos. But yeah, okay, we'll put it in B tier. And then you'll have to tell me what unit you want next. There are many, many to cover. Like all of them from the top. They're options. There's Big Hammer Lady. Tyranids need rhinos, yes. Oh yeah, they did even allow Emperor's Children to have a rhino where they didn't allow them to have so many other things. Okay, what's the next unit? What's the next unit? Come on, chat. Come on, chat. Come on, chat. What's the next unit? Come on. Aberrants. Aberrants. Alright, alright. Let's bring out the Aberrants. Now, I'm not just saying, oh, okay, the Magus is there as a benchmark. Anything else that goes here is as bad as a Magus. But they're about the same level. Or it could be there. We don't know yet. I'll put it there because then it's nicely filling in the set. Now, I'm generally down on Aberrants. They were exceptional in the index because they had damage 3. Whereas now they have damage 2. And we also have, say, Metamorphs that have damage 2. They're pretty tough. They can sort of function without an Abominant or a Biophagus. But you need a character to get their ability to work, which is -1 to be wounded. They can take some damage from small arms. Anything that's like damage 3, or especially damage 4, they melt. But they can take some damage. They can be annoying to kill. If you can get them into combat with an enemy that they can hurt, like any Space Marine unit, and the enemy can't really hurt them because they're trying to slap you down or punch you and they've got 3 attacks at strength 4, so they're wounding you on 5s, and then you get your 5-up save, maybe, and then you get a 5-up feel no pain. That's where you use them. You can put them in a transport. In the Biosanctuary Brood Surge, you can infiltrate them. A squad of 5 is usually enough. You can do it with a squad of 10. But then you're risking 300, 400 points of your army getting tied up by something like 20 cultists, 20 termagants. Something that they can't smash through. Not quickly, because you're going to get an average of 2 successful hits per model. Then you'll get most of them wounding and killing the enemy. It's going to take you like 3 turns to get through the termagants. It's not great. And you probably aren't going to be the one that's charging them. So you'll miss at least, or maybe even if you are, then you're missing like 2 turns then. In the Biosanctuary Brood Surge, you do get an extra attack. If you charge. Only on the turn you charge. If you don't get that charge, you don't get the extra attack. Because they're tough, you can sit on an objective, but I wouldn't sit on an objective with them. That's not what they do. And they're quite a lot of resurgence points. Slightly overpriced? I think we're right. Are we racing the Crucible, guys? No, because there'd be so many different ways you can modify the Crucible people. That it's very different depending on what you want. There's like 6 ways you can make each character. Don't think they're very good outside of Brood Surge. +1 to hit from Final Day, basically as good as +1 attack, and they can get reroll wound rolls. It is more general in the Final Day. So you can have reroll wound rolls. Is it any time? Do you have to be... Oh, you have to be near Tyranids, don't you? Hyper Ferocity, yeah, if you're within 6 inches of Tyranids, you can reroll all the wound rolls. In the Biosanctuary Brood Surge, against vehicles, maybe also monsters. Aberrants. Let me have a look. Gene Twisted Muscle, yeah, monsters or vehicles, you get +1 to wound. Both pretty good. They can indeed work in the Final Day. I'm now very tempted to try them more often in the Final Day. I tend to stick with Big Hammer Lady, just Big Hammer Lady, don't bother with Aberrants. Hitting on a 2 can be quite good. Alternatively though, Metamorphs, damage 2, hitting on 2s. There's generally not much difference between strength 5 and strength 7. Oh, it'll matter for like a toughness 10 enemy. It'll matter if they are toughness 6. Otherwise, it tends not to matter too much. And remember, you can get 10 Metamorphs for the price of 5 Aberrants. Okay, I think we're going to have to go with C tier. It's for specific detachments. Yes, they can work in Final Day. There's many other things I want to have work in Final Day, and because it's Final Day, and we're spending 40% of our points on Tyranids, just to make the detachment work well, there's not enough points for also Aberrants. So I think it's Biosanctic Brood Surge only. When I'm playing them, Biosanctic Brood Surge only. I'll try Aberrants in Final Day. In a bigger points game, probably. Toughness 5 elite infantry is everywhere. I mean, orcs can be toughness 5, Votan are toughness 5. I'm trying to think of other things that are toughness 5 and elite. And then, even then, I would rather have twice as many models making twice as many attacks. And then I can get through them. Nope, that's where I'm sticking them. You can protest in the comments all you like. I'm just not a Biosanctic Brood Surge person either. Right, how about we do the Acolytes with mining tools then? Terminators toughness 5, yeah. Still want the Metamorphs though. I would still prefer the Metamorphs. But yeah, they'd be especially good against the Terminators because you can knock their 2+ save onto their invulnerable save. Whereas Metamorphs can only get -1. Damage 2 is, yeah, the lack of damage 3. When they were damage 3, it was perfect. I was slapping Custodes aside easily, smushing tanks, but not when they're damage 2. Right, Acolytes with mining tools. Which saw have we gone for today? There's the saw. Buzz. I usually use these as a combat attacking unit in squads of 10. Other people stick with units of 5. Then you can use their ability to, like, mine for command points. You're on an objective you control. It's the end of the command phase, yeah. Roll a dice, on a 4+, you gain a command point. You can only gain 1 extra command point per battle round, and you can't do this in the first turn if you go first, because you don't control objectives until the end of the command phase. So it must be at the start of the command phase that you use this ability. I haven't got the card in front of me. I can get the card in front of me, that would make sense. Acolytes with auto pistols. Acolytes with mining tools is what we call them. Yeah, start of the command phase. So in the very first turn, no one owns that yet until the end of the first phase, so you can't use Claimed for the Cult in the first turn if you go first. I like them because they're damage 3 and they're strength 5. This is what I use for cutting up Terminators. I know it's only 2 attacks, but you're hitting on 3s, strength 5, AP -2, 3 damage, and there's anti-vehicle 4+ if you want to go for vehicles. I sometimes do indeed want to go for vehicles, especially in the Xenocreed congregation, especially in Final Day. All rerolls to wound? Yes, please. We'll get that anti-vehicle and we'll automatically wound that toughness whatever Titan even on a 4+. That's fun, cutting apart Titans. 60 Acolytes could be good. Yeah, I wish they had anti-monster as well, but apparently those are totally different things. They're very nice to get an extra attack with the Biophagus in the Biosanctic Brood Surge, or in the Xenocreed congregation, one of the stratagems gives you an extra attack and extra weapon skill. I think AP -2 is good enough. Generally good enough. Right, I see, there's a safety mechanism, so if they hit flesh, it automatically stops. Makes sense. And you've got to try and override that and hold the override button while you're also sawing. Ah, okay, I get it. That's why it only works on vehicles. Even though that could be a, like, bone saw. An industrial meat cutter. So this is a unit I use in combat instead of Aberrants. Metamorphs, damage 2, more attacks. Yeah, that's good. And hand flamers as well. But I really like the mining tools. A unit of 10 can have 6 mining tools that can mess people up. In any detachment you could add a Primus. Good place for a Primus. Always have +1 to hit. I just wish that they had the other Acolytes ability, the reroll wound rolls all the time. That's a good one. It was really fun in the index when other people were throwing bombs all the time. I was saying, what about the mining tools though? Full rerolls to wound? Damage 3? Yeah? I think they're an A tier unit. Unless you want to put them in S tier because you always want them all the time. I can make it through a game without them, as long as I've got Neophytes, as long as I've got other things. Like if I had Metamorphs and Neophytes, I can do without these Acolytes. There's some health and safety in the Imperium, on some worlds, some of the time, in some places. Yeah, we'll go with an A tier. Because I don't think you're going to have them in every list every time. You might. Now, they're generally good units, and you get good use out of them in most attachments. I think they're a perfect A tier. Otherwise, it's nice to have a small squad of 5. Okay, but otherwise, what unit are we doing next? On sparsely, like, occupied planets, you might get more safety features. How come they do more damage than a Power Fist? Oh, you know, because we're cutting apart vehicles. But we only get 2 attacks, whereas the Terminators with their Power Fists, which is strength 8, it's a higher strength. It's different. It's different. Okay, there's 4 different options. So if people now type 1, 2, 3, or 4, 1 being Iconward, 2 being Clamavus, 3 being Hand Flamers, 4 being Neophytes. And we'll pick from them. Or you'll pick from them. Or you could just type Clamavus. That's an option. But numbers, we can get some numbers in the chat. 2, okay, Clamavus. God, Clamavus. Some of you have watched this channel before. You know what the Clamavus does to me. Clamavus. Bam. Right. Okay. They're fine if you face a lot of deep striking units. Or you could just have 10 Neophytes spread out, and then the enemy can't deep strike near you. But a 12-inch area of, no deep striking here, can be useful if you are continually used to having 5 Acolytes on your home objective, and then Seraphim keep dropping in all of the time. Maybe switch those Acolytes to Neophytes, and then you can spread them out in a bigger area. And there's more bodies so you don't just get instantly killed by Seraphim. Have you considered that instead of a Clamavus? When the teleporting Necrons were very scary, the Hypercrypt Legion, then people were taking the Clamavus, but once the 3-inch Deep Strike disappeared from the rules, it was only 6-inch Deep Strike, fewer and fewer people are ever considering the Clamavus. Is there a reason to take the Clamavus? Makes a lot of noise, annoys me. I can see those being valid complaints that people have and also reasons to take them. Tiny Bluetooth speaker and have him playing Camilla dancing. Yeah. Yeah. Against Grey Knights? Yeah, could do. Grey Knights are unfortunately particularly good against us. They don't have anything higher than Strength 10, but we don't have anything higher than Toughness 10. Am I including the rock drill in that? No, the Tectonic frag drill is 11. Toughness 11. Needed for the after party? Good, then make the model and leave it for the after party. Put him on when you're counting up the victory points at the end. I think you have enough units to screen without needing them. All the characters that are in No Man's Land, the infiltrating units, the scouting units. You can generally stop turn 1 deep strikes. Yeah, and if the Custodes are doing things, sure, they're not going to be able to charge you that turn, but then they will. So if you have a particular weakness for the Custodes Terminators, you could have the Clamavus on your home objective if the terrain you're playing on means that they're very easily out of line of sight. Otherwise, something very fast can fly around and kill him very quickly. He does the job of being a body for the roster of new players to experiment with. Yeah, can do. He's one of the characters I also suggest converting rather than buying. It's nothing particularly interesting. There's plenty of guys have a stick or a staff. Or just have an auto pistol and a fancy head and holding some kind of console in the other hand. And then should be fine. It's D tier. Everything else in the Genestealer Cult army does very similar things. Right. So who are we doing next? We had a lot of comments, we had a lot of mentions. Number 4 kept coming up. Neophytes? Alright, we'll do Neophytes. Neophytes, the most basic of the fights. Now then, They're very useful. In the Brood Brothers Auxilia, you can take units like the Krieg, but don't take the Cadians, because Neophytes do what Cadians do, but they're cheaper, and I think they're cheaper. 65 points, 60 points. I'm pretty sure they're cheaper. Cadians, how many points? Cadian squad, 65 points. Okay, they're the same points as Neophytes, but Neophytes can get more things from the detachment rules, sort of, in the final, what are we talking about? The Brood Brothers Auxilia. And you can bring them back with resurgence points. And they got pistols. Other units don't get pistols as standard. Don't forget to fire your pistols. Will your Neophyte mining laser ever hit? Sometimes in like Host of Ascension, I've just fired that, rolled a 6, oh wait, that's 2 hits, oh wait, that's a lethal hit and another one, oh that's wounded as well, great, I've just killed the thing I was going to kill with the entire 20 squad of units. Those 20 Neophytes, the other 19 Neophytes don't need to shoot. The Neophytes can kill 20 light infantry with very little extra help needed. You get sticky objectives. I think that's useful. Where other people are putting Acolytes on their home objective to try and mine for it, and then they're staying there, I put Neophytes there. Then if you're playing something like Supply Drop, where you don't need your own command, you don't need your own home objective, it's sticky there if we need it, for something like Defend Stronghold, and then you can move into the center. I'm always wanting like a squad of 10. Host of Ascension, very good in squads of 20. The Xenocreed Congregation. Neophytes work surprisingly well in Xenocreed. Surge move into enemies. Have an Iconward with them, then they have a 5+ feel no pain. Have the Denunciator of Tyrants. Shoot a character unit and you get +1 to hit and +1 to wound. Now you're going to hit with your mining laser? Maybe. In the Outlander Claw, have a squad of 10 of them in a truck. Then get out and do missions and things. Use them to hold objectives in the Biosanctuary Brood Search, especially if you're spending a lot of points on expensive Aberrants. Do all the missions. Enemies have to kill all 10 of them or all 20 of them in one go, otherwise you're going to regenerate. It's very hard to cut through them. And with the Host of Ascension and the Final Day, you can return to the Shadows. Although it's not called Return to the Shadows in Final Day, it's Resistance Tunnels in Final Day. Go back into reserves, jump back out, especially in the Host of Ascension. Return to the Shadows, come back, you get the detachment rule again, you get any enhancements like the chink in their armor. If there's a character in the unit using that, go again. You can have 120 Neophytes with your Brood Brothers Auxilia. Yeah, you could do all Neophytes and then tanks. Or you could do all Neophytes and all Deathcore of Krieg. And then you can play 200 bodies. Necessary and important? I think they're very important. Some other people are like, don't need Neophytes. Take Acolytes instead. No, I don't think so. Tie up the enemy in Xenocreed, tie up the enemy in any detachment. Oh, you can't kill all of us at once? Charge. You're gonna not do anything on your next turn. Yeah, I think these are S tier. I'm always having Neophytes. Whatever the detachment, let's stick some Neophytes in there. Right, who are we saying next? Give me another character. Say character. We've got quite a few characters to go through. Yeah, there's a few characters. The Primus? Yeah. So the Primus. Now the Primus has changed since we did one of these tier lists before. They no longer give full rerolls to hit, it's +1 to hit to the unit, which is something we can get in quite a few detachments, like the Final Day, like the Brood Brothers Auxilia, like with enhancements in the Host of Ascension and enhancements in the Xenocreed Congregation. So, it's an unfortunate change. Reroll hit rolls of 1 was right there, we could have had that instead, I would have preferred that. But no matter. They're good for the redeployability. 3 of your units can be moved into reserves at the start of the game. You can go over the reserves limit for that. That's especially good for the Host of Ascension. Or you can, when you redeploy things, redeploy infiltrators. I've mentioned already that having 10 Purestrains spread across the middle of the battlefield, the enemy cannot infiltrate there, then you redeploy them to somewhere useful, like onto an objective at the side or behind cover so they can't be shot or charged in the first turn. But the speed of the Genestealer Cult, well, the speed of the Purestrains of the Genestealer Cult means you move 8, advance, and then charge. Yeah, there's not really a reason to take more than 1, because that redeployability can only be used once. And then 1 unit gets +1 to hit. So it's good with combat acolytes or 20 neophytes. You could do it with demo charge acolytes, but they're mostly hand flamers anyway. Good with neophytes in the Host of Ascension. +1 to hit, sustained hits, give them a chink in our armor. Chink in their armor, not in our armor, in their armor. So you've got sustained hits, lethal hits, +1 to hit, ignore cover when you arrive from reserve. It is not as good as full rerolls. We know this. But they're pretty good generally to put enhancements on. They're a key leader in the Xenocreed Congregation, so they can take those enhancements. Deeds that speak to the masses? Why not? If you're using him for a background ability of redeploying units, also have Deeds that speak to the masses to get 2 more resurgence points. There's maybe the Biosanctic Brood Surge, Final Day. You don't necessarily need them. Especially because the Biosanctic Brood Surge, you're going to want a Biophagus instead for any unit that can really have them. In the Final Day, you got +1 to hit in a lot of places. I can't think there's a special use for them in Outlander Claw, because you're not putting them with big squads of like 20 neophytes. You could put them with 10 metamorphs, but then you can't scout. You could put them with 10 acolytes in a truck. Yeah, that can work, that can work. Now, we're going to put them in A tier because they're really quite useful. Or have they dropped down to B tier? Like, they work, but do you need them? In Biosanctic Brood Surge, you still want the redeploy, it's too valuable. Yes, and in Biosanctic Brood Surge, you also have an extra infiltrating unit with one of the enhancements. Fair enough. Redeploy is really good. B tier, they work, but there's units that do it better. Or A tier, generally good unit with good unit in most detachments. Yeah, he's not really an essential one. Might seem, I think A tier still. I know he's dropped down a bit and there's a lot of times like, I don't really need you. I can get away without you. Okay, I'll say A tier. They're good. They work in most detachments. We'd want them. We want them. Right, did we say Iconward next? Iconward. Just put the Iconward there for the moment. Oh my, the big flag man. Acolyte Iconward, to give them their full name. It's the battle standard bearer. It's a feel no pain, 50 points. So, while you can put them on Acolytes, and then, like Metamorphs, they have a 5+ feel no pain. Or you can put them with Metamorphs, and then they have a 4+ feel no pain. The place you put them is with Neophytes. 20 Neophytes can hold an objective forever with a 5+ feel no pain. A tier may indeed be where they go. As soon as you got 20 Neophytes, you're thinking, do I want an Iconward? There's a lot of enhancements you can enhance them with. The Xenocreed enhancements. Give them the Denunciator of Tyrants, +1 to hit and wound on everything in the unit. Well, then we're better than a Primus. The Brood Brothers Auxilia. There's the, I think it's Hero Returned, extra objective control, and bonus leadership. Unlikely to be battle shocked. They're like leadership 5 Neophytes then. We don't need them all the time in every detachment, yeah. But they're really good, really valuable. You're not gonna die with one. 20 Neophytes with Feel No Pain is indeed brutal. You have to put so many units into it, and that means you're tying up a lot of the enemy, and while you're tying them up, other parts of your army are free to score victory points, or close in to kill the enemy. And if the enemy doesn't kill them, and they're not gonna, then our icon can regenerate 3 models or D3 plus 3 models if we're on an objective, and we should be. I think the only problem I've had with this combo is if you cannot get onto one of the objectives, like you're blocked from it, and so they're not regenerating as much, they're not scoring you points, they're just there. No, they don't have to be with the hybrids. Well, it's Neophyte hybrids, but not Acolyte hybrids. And the Metamorphs, they're an okay place to put them there. I don't think the 4+ Feel No Pain is doing anything especially good compared to a 5+ Feel No Pain, but it's a character that can scout with them. So in Xenocreed, Incendiary Inspiration, then you can advance and charge. It's the advance and charge detachment. And then you got a 4+ Feel No Pain, and you can scout all together. I'm happy to boost them up to A tier. I think I've had them in B tier before. I know they're trying to get you to put the Iconward with the Metamorphs, with the boosted Feel No Pain, with Scout, but I don't think it works as well as just Neophytes. So I'm happy to put them in A tier. Very useful character. And when it comes to a 50-point character you're adding on to enhance the unit in some way, maybe if it's Acolytes or Metamorphs, I'll say Biophagus or Locus. Neophytes, definitely A tier. And when we're making one of our best units better, that's a good choice. And it's very applicable to pretty much all the detachments. Now who are we going to do? We have Jackal alphus. Yeah, I'm happy to do the Jackal alphus. Okay. Ooh, let's pop them there for the moment. The Jackal alphus doesn't have to lead units. You never have to lead a unit. It's not like in Age of Sigmar where you have formations. So if you have this character, then you can take these units. It's kind of part of what put me off the current edition of Age of Sigmar. Being, oh, well, I have that character, but I don't have any of the units they go with. Or I have the unit, but I don't have the character I need to unlock them, and so they're like an extra unit, and then they don't get as many bonuses, and oh, that's an extra drop, and so I don't get to decide who goes first. And, I like the way current 40k has force organization done. 3 of every unit, with exceptions like Epic Heroes, there's only 1 of them, and also you can have up to 6 of the trucks, the dedicated transports, and the battle line units. And it's reduced if you're using the mission deck and you're playing Incursion. If you're playing Crusade at 1000 points, you can still have up to 6 Neophyte units. if you wanted. Now the Jackal alphus, I've tried it quite a few times alone, but you don't have lone operative. What you have is shoot and scoot. So you can fire and then hide behind a wall. Yeah, that's fine, that's fine. You've also got not much else. Well, there's no lone operative, so they're not as good as like a Sanctus. Their sniper rifle is also not as good as the Sanctus's sniper. So even if you can shoot, there's no good follow-up damage. What you do if you hit the enemy, and only if you hit the enemy, and it's one shot on a 3+, so you can't count on it, in like the Brood Brothers Auxilia, in Host of Ascension, in Final Day, you can hit an enemy and then you get to reroll hit rolls of 1. That is just shooting attacks, I think. Yeah, it is, because it's until the end of the phase. So you can't hit them and then suddenly Aberrants are rerolling hit rolls of 1. No, it's just to the end of the phase. You can put them with the bikes, and if you're playing Outlander Claw, this could be a very useful warlord. Ooh. Why, thank you. Thank you very much, Ashley. Yeah, I try and be very useful for Genestealer Cult players that are just getting in there. Because if I don't explain it as if you're new, that means that even people who have been playing 40k for like 15 years, they've been going since, 5th edition, continually, but they've never played Genestealer Cult. How are they going to get in? Which is also why I did things like, even though it didn't perform well, it's a very useful video on how the basic resurgence points work and what the best thing is. Yeah, it's a good one. I will not burn in the sun because it's England and it's winter, so there's barely any sun. Are we now in spring? We might now be in spring, though it doesn't feel it. And I like to be friendly and fun, because being miserable is not interesting. It's tedious, it's painful if it was like, oh my goodness, can you believe what Games Workshop did next? But can you believe what Games Workshop has just done? The situation has gotten even worse. 11th edition situation, man, oh, so bad. No, I'm gonna probably do a video, another one on 11th edition, or predictions and hopes. I've done several of these already. People keep watching them, so I'll keep making them. It could be a live stream. There are quite a few positive things I have to say about 10th edition. Like what they did with characters. You've not heard about the 11th edition stuff. Yeah, well, we don't know much about the 11th edition stuff. It might be another 2 weeks and then we'll find out properly something about 11th edition. But if you search on my channel, 11th edition, there's about 5 videos. I think they're in a playlist as well. Yes, Jackal alphus. I wish they did something better. So they're a decent character to lead the Outlander Claw, or you could have like a Reductus saboteur in a vehicle, or you could have a Sanctus sniper. Yeah, their reroll hit rolls of 1 doesn't apply to the Jackal squad that they're leading, because it's after the unit is shot. Yeah, after this model's unit is shot, then anyone else attacking them gets to reroll hit rolls of 1. So you can't be especially good with shooting for like the grenade launcher or the mining laser of the Jackal biker squad. Oh yes, also, they are not a Jackal biker model. They are a Jackal alphus, which is different, so they don't count as part of the demolition run. So if you have a Jackal alphus and 5 Jackal bikers, you only roll 5 dice for demolition run, not 6. It's not all models in the unit, it's Jackal biker models in the unit. And I know you share keywords, but when it specifies models, it just means those particular models with the keyword, not shared keywords. Yeah, reroll hit rolls of 1 is fine if you can hit. You hit on a 3+. Yeah. They might be C tier. I don't know what they're especially doing well. What are the enhancements you can give them? Which is only going to be in the Outlander Claw. Can't do that, that needs transports. You can shoot and fall back. The shooting of a biker squad isn't amazing, and you can do the demo run anyway. Starfall shells for 10 points. That's the only really useful one. You hit an enemy. If you hit the enemy, then they're -1 to be hit. Or, you know, even cheaper than a Jackal alphus with that enhancement is a Genestealer Cult Magus. -1 to hit on the enemy. Don't need line of sight. Don't need to hit. It's on a 2+ it works rather than a 3+. I'm wondering if we should put this guy in D tier. Or lady. I think it's meant to be a sniper lady. We're very gender accepting in the Genestealer Cult. Look at this person. They've got 3 arms. Who knows what gender that is? Girl with 3 arms? Boy with 3 arms? Non-binary? Well, yeah, if you've got 3, then it's not binary. It's not 0 or 1. What are we doing? A tier? No. D tier? No. Maybe? Yeah. Trying to push you towards shooting, but actually loses in shooting. Yeah. Fall back and shoot isn't bad for extra mobility, but you could just fall back instead. If you just need the speed, we go 12 inches anyway. Useful for doing actions for cheap, however, characters like the Sanctus Sniper is cheaper, and has Lone Operative, and has Deep Strike, and Infiltrate, rather than Scout. Let me just check my rankings, like the C tier stuff. I said C tier is only good in 1 detachment-ish. I think I'm going to have to drop them into D tier. I don't recommend including them. You can make them work, they can do things. However, there are many other optional units you may want to pick that can do the thing you want to do better. And if you're wanting to support your troops, a Ridge Runner is going to do it better than a one-shot hitting on a 3+, then you reroll hit rolls of 1. Right, let's go with the Benefictus. I'm not a big fan of the Benefictus, although I use a Benefictus in the Host of Ascension. Although now we have the Crucible of Champions, I don't need a Benefictus, because one of the characters, which is like the Hand of the Patriarch, I think, the bottom one of the 3, they have the Benefictus ability. You get lethal hits at range. That's what we want. And then Las Cannon Brain, it's a 1-shot Las Cannon. It can be a 2-shot Las Cannon, but then you get Hazardous, and the Benefictus only has 3 wounds, so if you fail that Hazardous test, you die. I am told that some people used to put their Benefictus in the middle of a unit, but if they die from Hazardous, then you're going to lose half the unit because you're then out of coherency at the end of the turn. Uh-oh. Lethal hits at range is pretty good. 1-shot Las Cannon, 70 points. If you're playing the Brood Brothers Auxilia, you can have Las Cannon teams. That's 3 Las Cannons. Good in Final Day with sustained hits enhancement and 20 Neophyte brick. Sounds like you're trying to play Host of Ascension there, but without the ignore cover part. I'm glad there's someone looking out for the Brood Brothers Auxilia. That's fun. Try the Benefictus Battle Boss. That's where you put 3 Benefictus, maybe in the Outlander Claw. Then you can have the Cartographic Data Leech enhancement. So everyone inside gets +1 ballistic skill when they're using the firing deck. So then you can have 6 shots hitting on a 2+, and that only costs you about 300 points for essentially a Rhino firing 6 las cannons. And once the Rhino, Goliath truck transport is destroyed, then you've got 3 guys. And you only get the lethal hits while leading a unit. I think it's a Host of Ascension only. Where would we have the Benefictus? Where's my notes on the Benefictus? They must be somewhere. I know I wrote about them. There we are. I just don't know how to spell Benefictus. At least one of the times. Oh, if you're with Acolytes with hand flamers and demolition charges, if you fail the hazardous test on the Benefictus, you can make one of the Acolytes with demo charges fail the test for you, even if you haven't fired that bomb. That's just the way the hazardous works nowadays. It's strange. Yeah. I think, oh yeah, they also have a useless ability. You can change your 5+ invulnerable save on the model to a 4+ invulnerable save for a phase. For just one phase. And just that model. No one else. So it's not even as good as like the Adeptus Roritas Candace, who as a model gets a 2+ invulnerable save. No. No. They're going to be C tier, because I think they're only really good in the Host of Ascension. And while you can get them to work in Final Day, and then you can have, yeah, +1 to hit, and lethal hits, and sustained hits with an enhancement, and lethal hits. There'd be no ignores cover, but you could get that with a Ridge Runner. That's a good set of combo stuff. But you need to have a Ridge Runner do stuff, and you need to get a Tyranid unit nearby. Host of Ascension, you don't need to do that. You just turn up. And with being able to return to the shadows and come back again, lethal hits, sustained hits, ignore cover over and again. So Host of Ascension only, I think. And now, who do you want to do? Yeah, you need to be psychic to know when to use that boosted invulnerable save. Yeah, while the Final Day has its resistance tunnel to go up and down, you don't get any extra benefit from coming back up and down. Whereas in the Host of Ascension, you get the detachment rule again when you do it. I've already done the Locus. That's in A tier, second one from the left. Oh no, wait, I haven't done the Locus. Locus is our assassin person. I'm obviously talking about a totally different assassin. Whoops! How could I possibly get our many Genestealer Cult character assassins confused? Alright, yes, the Locus. The Locus. Let's do the Locus. I like a Locus. Other people don't necessarily like a Locus. I've seen them put really low down. Like here, or like here, oh, you never use them. They're the cheapest for a reason. Or here, like, oh yeah, maybe sometimes. I'm looking at more like here. It's fight first. Don't underestimate fight first. Our units are incredibly squishy. Acolytes, 1 wound, toughness 4, 5+ save. If you can get to fight with them, which is what we want to do before they die, that's incredibly valuable. So I think the Locus is great. Now, if I'm doing a shooting detachment, let's say the Host of Ascension is more general, but Brood Brothers Auxilia, Outlander Claw, maybe not, or maybe yes. Maybe yes and maybe no. In the Biosanctum Brood Surge, I'll want a Biophagus, because you can't double up with a Biophagus and a Locus. It's just the one. The Locus does have a bodyguard ability, so if you had a Primus in the same unit, you can give them a better feel no pain, temporarily, while the unit is there and alive, that will help against, say, precision attacks. And if the entire unit was wiped out apart from the 2 characters, that feel no pain will last until the enemy unit that wiped you out has finished doing its shooting. Then you split into 2 separate units. Then your feel no pain, bodyguarding does nothing. So I generally ignore that and look entirely at the fight first. It's fight first on themselves. It's one of the rare cases where, while it says while leading a unit, models in the unit have fight first, they also have fight first as a core ability. So they always fight first even when alone. And it's a decent profile. 5 attacks, strength 5, AP 2, damage 2. That's close to Patriarch level. On a toughness 3... No, toughness 4. Toughness 4, 3 wound character. With an invulnerable save. And they always have the invulnerable save. Whereas someone like the Judicia for the Space Marines only gets the invulnerable save while in melee. Are we better? Maybe. I'll do best Brood Brothers units in a Brood Brothers video. I'll do best Tyranid units in a Final Day video. That's going to be the best way to do it. The model is so distinct. How could you? Yeah, the Look at this Locus. If you didn't have the massive Genestealer Cult symbol right on his back, right there, you wouldn't know he was a Genestealer Cult character, who is also an assassin. He's one of those guys we didn't need. Like the Benefictus, just make the Magus better. Just give the abilities of this Benefictus to the Magus. Forget the invulnerable save thing and give them mind control still. Wow, that is definitely a 70 or 80 point character. Locus, hey, just say the Sanctus gets fight first and the unit they're with gets fight first, or you have lone operative. It's so strange they've just gone, okay, we need to have 20 characters and they each need to do half of what another faction's character can do. Oh my. Yeah, only one Locus, because the value of fight first goes down when you have two. Because if both your fight first units got charged, the enemy is charging you, so they are fight first, and it alternates. You do one fight first unit, they do one fight first unit, you do one fight first unit. Oh wait, that Locus I was going to do is dead. Because they got attacked by the enemy that had fight first. Yeah, it alternates back and forth with the fight firstiness, but it starts with us when it's not our turn. I think they're pretty good. Let's say, I think A tier. Yeah, we'll go with A tier. They're very useful. Make Acolytes good, make Metamorphs good. You surge into an enemy and someone else charges you, you still fight first. Ooh, let's do the Patriarch. Alright. I've also just released a short about the Patriarch. Just waiting for the motorbikes to pass. The Jackal bikers are out. Okay, we'll do the Patriarch. So, Patriarch. We have a lot of power from a Patriarch. Biosanctity Brood Surge. Then we have an enhancement to get an extra point of AP and an extra point of damage. Consistent damage 3. What do other things not have? When it's random damage? Like on the Ridge Runner? No, other one. Rock Grinder with its random damage seismic cannon. Or we have damage 3 but only on Acolytes. Yeah, maybe not going to hit, maybe not loads of attacks. Patriarch can have that. Where's my Patriarch man? Big Patriarch. Let's put you in B for the moment. Final day, very good. Then we have a stratagem that lets you fully reroll wound rolls. You have devastating wounds on your Genestealers, and your Patriarch always has devastating wounds on their own weapons. That can be a lot of damage in the final day when you're rerolling all wound rolls. Or Biosanctity Brood Surge. If they're with Genestealers, only if they're with Genestealers, they get the detachment rule to have an extra attack. I've seen people run them alone, because then you get to use their toughness of 5. It's not that much better than the toughness 4 of the Genestealers. They also tend not to hold up too much. Battle shocking things. Cosmic Horror is an ability. Enemies within 6 inches have to take a battle shock test at the start of each and every fight phase. You don't need to be in engagement range. It's not pick an enemy unit in 6 inches or pick an enemy unit in engagement range. Every enemy in 6 inches does it. And you can spend your familiar, and then once per battle, every enemy unit within 12 inches takes a battle shock test. Do that in, say, their turn. And then they're not going to be fighting you to control objectives in your turn. They can't use stratagems in your turn. And they only recover at the start of their next turn. If you do it in your own turn, hey, you know, it keeps working. You don't need to spend anything other than that familiar to keep it going. But if they're battle shocked in your turn, they're going to recover at the start of their next turn. Is it the best during final day? Yeah, that's good. That's good. Sustained hits in final day, I do like that one. I think you'll see it in the final day video. I've been pairing them with Von Ryan's Leapers, because Von Ryan's Leapers have Heroic Intervention for free and Fight First, and they infiltrate, so they go together. Enemy tries to charge us immediately, Von Ryan's come in, we can get rid of the enemy, usually, and then the Genestealers can help, and there's a unit there to give them +1 to hit if they needed it, they hit on a 2+, and also full rerolls to wound stratagem. And sustained hits, yeah. You need to have a Tyranid unit nearby. Or we can have the you're not allowed to overwatch me. Then you can just rush towards the enemy. You can say, oh, that's a nice platoon of Imperial Guardsmen you've got there. It'd be a shame if someone had a lot of attacks at AP -2. He's good, he's good. I've battle shocked like Imperial Knights as well, so it's like, I go on this objective, I'm objective control 8. I battle shock you. Oh no. Yeah, I really like that. I know people are like, battle shock, it relies on leadership tests. How many leadership tests are you making them take? How many units are you battle shocking, potentially? It's like a mini Shadow in the War, but all of the time. Each player's turn. No command reroll, no insane bravery. Because it's not the right turn for this. You can never command reroll a leadership test, and insane bravery is only used in the command phase. I think... No, it's not going to be Seat. I know there's like those two good detachments. The Biosanctum Brood Surge, the Final Day. That's not like one good detachment. I think they're maybe overshadowed. It's the only character that can lead Genestealers. I do generally like them for messing people up. You could rapid ingress them in like the Host of Ascension, and then charge in the coming turn, and then you also get sustained hits. You could have them hiding in a truck. They can go in a truck now. Couldn't do that in an index. In the index, no, you can't have a Patriarch in a truck. Now you can. Yeah, I think I've talked myself into at least B tier. I want them in every detachment. They are underrated for what they do. Patriarch's good. Patriarch's good. Would I suggest Lictors or the Von Ryans? I like the Von Ryans. Lictors are also good for a different reason. They're a lone operative. They can infiltrate. Yeah, you can fight first with them, and then you'd have to spend a command point to heroically intervene. But that can be good. But you could assassinate a character that's going to super buff the enemy. Although with Lictors, I tend to find, oh, it was just one wound away. They passed just enough saves. Yeah, we'll go with B tier. So you can get away without a Patriarch, but the Patriarch is good. Patriarch is good. Who's next? We have quite a few units. Oh, what have we got? We've got the Ridge Runner, we've got Acolytes with the Demo Chargers and the Hand Flamers, we've got Metamorphs, we've got the Biophagus, Big Hammer Lady, and we've got the Nexus. 6 more characters. Oh, got the 3 Von Ryans in the the Combat Patrol magazine. Yeah, they were like a cheaper one. It was like £7, I think, for them 3. Right. I'm just gonna take a 1-minute break. I need to refresh my drink. I'm gonna have just water this time. I'll be back in 1 minute. We already did the Clamavus. We're not doing the Clamavus again. I'll be back soon. Water. A peasant drink, but it works. You couldn't tell the Clamavus hadn't been done because he's not in S tier. can't go crazy while I'm gone. Mods are still here. Right. Where I don't want to be. Streaming screen. We're streaming. Streaming. We're streaming. Right. Okay. Okay. Oh, I should also mention, and should have mentioned before a temporary break, if you look in the description, there are many, many things in the description. There's a link to affiliates where you can get cheaper Games Workshop things. There's a affiliate link for Conflict 47 and Bolt Action things. There's a discount code and a link to Golden Maple brushes if you want brushes and loads of other products like wet palettes. More brushes. They do paints. I'm pretty sure they do paints. That's a discount. That's probably the best discount code there is for the Golden Maple brushes. All very good. Oh yes, and there's also a Ko-fi link. That's where at least 3 very nice people have dropped money at me today. I am in very much a Genestealer Cult mood at the moment. Get all the Genestealer Cult videos done, out the way before 11th edition, and then we'll see how everything changes and just... Don't do it, Games Workshop. Don't be like, we have to go back to formula. Back to formula? Do you know how much I've sacrificed? Back to formula? No, you better not. You better not. Do you see how green my eyes are? It's goblin green. So I'm hoping for compatibility with 11th edition and 10th edition in some ways. Oh, what's that? We're doing the Nexus. All right. Nexus. The man who books the table. And he's like, my friends are going to be here soon. It's not just me. I have friends. Booking a table. Right, the Nexus. So he's all about getting cheaper stratagems, which means you have to put him in a unit. And he's only going to be good if you have good stratagems in that detachment. So you don't want him in the Brood Brothers Auxiliary. Host of Ascension is the most obvious place. You're throwing out a lot of stratagems. So if you want to have the resources for Tunnel Crawlers, for Primed and Readied, for Return to the Shadows, for anything else, and you can put enhancements on him. Ooh, welcome Toon Review Stathole 2339. Welcome to the Legion. Your name will appear in the end credits. Not this one's end credits, but all the other end credits coming up. A lot of things you can do with the Nexus in the Host of Ascension. Yeah, Nexus is how I think I look planning out my next turn of 40k. Yeah, he's also meant to be unusually old. Like, so much mind power is going into him that it ages him. Okay, that's a weird trait to put in the lore. Oh yeah, they're all just really old. Huh. You've learnt many a thing about the Genestealer Cult over the last few years. Ah, thank you very much. Right, I'm trying to think of other detachments where you'd use them. Maybe in Final Day. Hey, Resistance Tunnels is now free. Great. We can use that on some Neophytes. You're not really getting anything else much out of them there. In the Xeno Creed, yeah, you could pop up with... Okay, you can't have any enhancements in Xeno Creed. They're on other characters. Good stratagems, but you don't want to be pushed towards the enemy. You could let the units advance and charge. Any character in an Acolyte, Neophyte, or Metamorph unit lets the unit advance and charge. No. Reroll advance rolls and reroll charge rolls, and then the stratagems to let you advance and charge. When the Primus became not so good, when they lost the rerolls, then I was like, okay, how about a chink in their armor on a Nexus? And that's generally what I've done. Or the Benefictus, yeah. What I had done in a tournament list was took out the Nexus, added in another Biophagus, but now I'm swapping the Primus for the Nexus, so I've got a Nexus and a Biophagus. That's what I have in my best Host of Ascension list. It is a shame that the rules and the abilities don't quite seem to match a guy standing at the back. He should be the one redeploying people, the Primus should be the one that gives you cheaper stratagems. That would be better. Oh yeah, the thing that Nix is saying. Nixus. That Nixus is saying about the Nexus. And it's something I mentioned in my video, How to Fix the Genestealer Cult Codex. I don't know about cult ambush markers don't destroy within 9 inches, but within 6. I mean, shuffle them about. He gets to move cult ambush markers around. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. What if we got to move one of them? Just put them somewhere else. That would be better. I would like that better. But the Nexus's ability suggests you should put them in a unit, which doesn't seem to work so well. So with they're kind of okay for one of their abilities. It's 50 points for a cheaper stratagem per turn. Especially good if you have a 2 command point stratagem and the Host of Ascension has 2 of them, primed and readied, and coordinated trap, both 2 command points. I think they might be C tier because they're good in that one detachment. In the Host of Ascension, are you taking them anywhere else? Which unit are you going to have them join in, like the Biosanctic Brood Surge? Something that should have a Biophagus, and you can't have both a Nexus and a Biophagus in the same unit. Outlander Claw, well, you spend your stratagems on vehicles and the bikes, not on infantry units. You can have free grenades somewhere. Okay. Nah. You just use a Reductus Saboteur instead. There's free grenades. So they're a good one for Host of Ascension. Right, what else do you want? We have the Ridge Runner, the Acolytes, the Biophagus, the Metamorphs, and Hammer. I know you want to pick one. I know you want to say which one you want. I know you want to just stick a number in the side. I know you'd like to, oh, I don't know, have some memberships. Go, memberships, go! There we go. Yeah, put the Aberrants in C tier. I stand by that. Biophagus to do all the characters. We'll still have another character left, because we still got the big hammer. Ridge Runner seems a good one to do. Why am I putting them there? We know they go up there. Ridge Runner, the running off the ridges. And what does the Ridge Runner have? What ability is it in the core? They have Scout. People didn't know they have Scout. Yeah, Ridge Runners can Scout. They have lots of things. You can give them free smoke screen with the flare launcher. Then they get the smoke keyword. And smoke screen gives you the benefit of cover and -1 to be hit. There's a spotter that changes your ballistic skill to a 3+. Because we're changing the ballistic skill, that is different to +1 to hit. You need to understand that is different to +1 to hit. You cannot have +1 to hit and another +1 to hit. So you cannot have a Primus giving you +1 to hit and also the final day detachment rule giving you +1 to hit. You cap out at +1 to hit. You don't get +2 to hit. But the Ridge Runner changing their ballistic skill to 3+ and then getting the final day +1 to hit, now you hit on a 2+, whereas otherwise you would hit on a 4+. That is allowed. That works. You got the Survey Auger that lets you ignore cover. Very useful considering how very, very dense terrain is in this edition. I even take a Survey Auger in the Final Day detachment. No, in the other one. In the Host of Ascension detachment, where we get ignores cover on our attacks when we come from reserves. Because there's going to be a turn after that. Yeah, it's good. We've got the Crossfire rule, of course, which is the most important one. You hit an enemy with any of your guns. Could be with the Twin Heavy Stubbers, could be with a Mine Laser, could be an indirect fire mortar. And that enemy unit, anyone that's Genestealer Cult that attacks that enemy unit, gets an extra point of armor penetration for the rest of the turn. That is the shooting phase. That is the fight phase. Yes, you don't have to scout with them. I know people forgot they have scout because you rarely scout with them. It's just useful to hide early game. You can go really, really fast with them. You can get those angles and go right up to the enemy and blow up their tanks that are waiting to go forward. Yeah, you could have 2 of them in a unit and then go and shoot the enemy transport that's waiting in an alleyway or like a path of ingress. An area where they could actually move forward, considering the amount of terrain most people have on their table. They're very fast. Yeah, they're moving 12 inches. They're not the toughest. They're toughness 7 and 8 wounds. But as I found out recently, which was important, they're objective control 3. Many other transports, like a Rhino transport, is objective control 2. You can outscore some enemies. I don't think anyone picks the missile launcher, which is 3 shot, strength 9, -2 AP and 3 damage. That feels like someone's going, I think we're missing something here. Like, there should be an extra part of it. Like, it should have an alternate fire mode if it's a missile launcher. Ah, Nux, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Gotta keep the love flowing. You're most welcome. Yeah. Yeah, very good in Outlander Claw. You got smoke for free. There's a few stratagems they can use. Not all the stratagems. You've got, yeah, in 4+ invulnerable save from deft maneuvering. That only works in the shooting phase. And yeah, you've got the free smoke. So they can be very annoying to get rid of. You've got reactive move, rapid feint. You can move 6 inches if the enemy comes within 9. Go and hide. Make a charge harder. That can work. But yeah, the missile launcher feels like it needs a blast part of the missile. Otherwise, it's 3 shots compared to the mining laser's D3 shots, and the mining laser is better in every way. The mining laser might indeed get 4 or 5 shots because of blast. And the heavy mortar there for indirect fire, that's just for putting the crossfire ability anywhere on the board. 48-inch range is usually one side, like one corner almost, to the other corner. You can run 6 in Brood Brothers. Yeah, that could work. If you shoot the enemy with an Imperial Guard unit, though there's a lot of restrictions on that, then they get +1 to hit. Then if you got the spotter, mining lasers, oh, I'm hitting on 2s with so many shots. The missile launcher is the coolest looking weapon. I like the mine laser. I also like the mortar. I think it's pretty good. Yeah, you want at least 1. I can't think of a time you wouldn't want 1. I don't want to build... I have built lists without them, but you feel like you're missing something. I know we can build characters with the Crucible of Champions. Can we get rules for vehicles? We need more technicals that can fire 6 missiles. Yeah. Oh, I like that. If you can get any toy car and put on one of the spare guns from the Ridge Runner, then put it on the appropriately sized base, and it works perfectly. You can very much get 3 people's worth, 3 Ridge Runners worth of bits out of a Ridge Runner and 2 toy cars. And I think you get a Ridge Runner in the Combat Patrol, in the current Combat Patrol. Let me double check that. Genestealer Combat Patrol, the new one. Yeah, you get a Ridge Runner. And some bikes. And like 10 Acolytes / Metamorphs. Very good, very good. The only real anti-tank because the mining laser. Yeah. Oh, the missiles work as a Havoc launcher for Chaos Space Marines. Yeah, that's good. Not everyone put a Havoc launcher on their Chaos Space Marine Rhinos. Or Land Raiders. I think Land Raiders can have them as well. Should it have a damage reduction and give it Melter? Yeah, that might make more sense for the rules. Then it feels like you're using it for close range melting of stuff rather than... No, I mean, there are like long range mining lasers. You might be something mining into the side of a mountain like through ice. You might want to have a longer range gun than let's go point blank where we might get covered by an avalanche. Or maybe the idea is you've just taken that and strapped it to a fast-moving car, and this is now the Fast and the Furious. And we need to have the mining laser for the Furious part. So good, all detachments, because it helps your shooting, because it helps your combat. Yeah, they're an S tier unit. Next unit. So we've got Biophagus, we've got Acolytes, we've got Metamorphs, we've got Big Hammer Lady. How about we do the Acolytes? Slide in there for the moment, Acolytes. Acolytes with hand flamers. So they're called Acolytes with hand flamers, they're also the Acolytes that can have the demo charges. They are very good in infantry hordes, you could have lots of them. They still have AP1 claws. They still get to fully reroll wound rolls in combat, not just for shooting. Don't forget that. It is all of their attacks against any enemy on an objective. It doesn't have to be an objective you control or an objective the enemy controls. It's just full rerolls to wound. If you're having a mechanized list, they could go in a truck or a rock grinder, more a rock grinder than a truck. If you're going with hordes of monstrous things like in the Biosanctic Brood Surge, also have these because they're going to do the actions. Yeah. Oh yes, and if you're on an objective, you automatically regenerate 3 models from your cult icon, rather than D3. I have also tried so hard to make the index demo charge thing work, but in the codex. Host of Ascension, yeah, you've got sustained hits, you've got a character with them that's giving them lethal hits, you've got full rerolls to wound there, you kind of need the full rerolls to hit, and the Primus doesn't give you that anymore, so your Primus could give you +1 to hit, but that's about as far as you can get. You won't get full rerolls to hit anymore in the Outlander Claw. Oh, it's full rerolls to wound with +1 to hit. Yeah, but you don't need the truck to do that. The truck, Goliath truck has the ability. It shoots something. The unit that gets out can also shoot the same thing, and if they do, they get to fully reroll wound rolls. In Host of Ascension, you have tunnel crawlers, so you can arrive 6 inches away, so you're in bomb range, because they changed the range of the bombs to be 8 inches. The demo charges at 8-inch range. Don't they do the shoot out of a truck with bombs, then they run out, and then they do it again because the truck technically shot the bombs? That has changed. Because there's an FAQ update, errata, one of the rules changes they did. It's in one of the PDF documents somewhere on the community. You cannot fire one-shot weapons from the firing deck. It's an update to the firing deck rule. So they can't do that anymore. And the truck itself has demo charges. So I would say skip the demo charges. Stick with the hand flamers. Clear light infantry. Use the hand flamers for that. You also have a pretty small footprint to deep strike with the squad of 5. You've got... Oh, I'm trying to think what else you've got. Okay, don't use the bombs. That's the idea. Don't use the bombs. But you can take objectives. That's their main thing. Turn up, do actions. You have deep strike. Turn up anywhere. If enemies... If you're playing like Space Marines, you think, okay, I need some assault marines with jump packs to land somewhere, and then we'll do an action. We'll score victory points. This is what the Acolytes do, but cheaper than pretty much anyone else. It's like the cheapest unit in the game to deep strike. Apart from Acolytes with mining tools. But these are generally good because they have the hand flamers and they do the shooting if you want to do the shooting. And I like my 5 Acolytes with mining tools where I can guarantee them getting in combat rather than a 9-inch charge. Any benefit of taking more than 5? Not really. Oh, right, yeah. No, not really. But you could have a squad of 10 with the Assault Commando enhancement for the Primus, then you get reroll hit rolls, and you get +1 to hit, and you'll get to reroll wound rolls if you're disembarking from a Goliath truck. That's not bad. Or you could just have a couple of Reductus saboteurs and you'll have better bombs that get more hits. Yeah, they're good for objectives. They're really good to bring back with resurgence points because it's 2 resurgence points. So a squad of 10, I would just take Acolytes with mining tools or Metamorphs because they can do combat. Otherwise, you've got 10 Hand Flamers, that's a good Overwatch threat, or you could have 10 Metamorphs with Hand Flamers. Although these could, you know, fully reroll wound rolls on Overwatch. Yeah. So you could take a unit of 10. You've got Assassination Edict or Denunciator of Tyrants, +1 to hit and +1 to wound. I'm just thinking of the Hand Flamers. +1 to wound. Yeah, other things might want it because then they can also get the +1 to hit. We're kind of clashing with Purestrains that are 5 points more and have 2 wounds, and they can also do actions. You can drop them in, but I like them for infiltrate. Yeah, the Acolytes with Hand Flamers are just a great unit to have in every detachment. They're 2 command points, no, 2 resurgence points. You drop them in, you do the missions, you score the points. They get killed, they come back, they score more points. Victory points win the game. Killing the enemy is optional. You can do it if you want. It certainly helps. The Hand Flamers are good at killing enemy units on their home objective. Cultists do not like 5 Hand Flamers or 4 Hand Flamers getting full rerolls to wound. Overwatch if they try and move towards you. Or just shoot them again in the coming turn. Yeah, I would have them all the time. Just 1 unit is all you need. At the very least, that's all you should have. 2 units is good. We have the most consistent like reroll wound rolls against enemies on objectives. Like the Chaos Space Marine Legionaries only get that in combat. The Lehman Russ Battle Tank gets to reroll hits, but only if the enemy controls the objective. We get it shooting our combat. So use their, like, claws. They basically have Space Marine, Chaos Space Marine chainswords. Strength 4, 3 attacks, AP -1. So think of them as guys with chainswords. I think I've modelled one with a chainsword just to remember they have the equivalent of a chainsword. Purge the forward like a word. Hey, you're playing Genestealer Cult. You do it for the primary mission objectives, you score the secondary missions with these, and yeah, you're going to lose some units anyway. It's Purge the Foe. We score the objective part, we don't necessarily score the not having units die part. Yeah, try a charge. You can try a charge, especially against the kind of thing that doesn't like Hand Flamers. Termagants, Imperial Guard cultists, they don't want to be hit by your claws any more than they want to be hit by your Hand Flamers. Who else we got? Right, we got the Biophagus, got the Metamorphs. Ooh, put a 1 in chat for Biophagus, put a 2 in chat for Metamorphs, put a 3 in chat for Big Hammer Lady. Biophagus could be good. Many ones. Do we want to just leave the Big Hammer Lady to last? That's at least 3 for the Biophagus. Alright, I'll go with the Biophagus. Biophagus, right. B for Biophagus for the moment. Where am I in my notes? B. I didn't put these alphabetically. That might have been useful. Right, the Biophagus. Good for helping against things that have a high toughness. We were comparing the Aberrants and the Metamorphs before. Like, okay, strength 7, that's really important if the enemy is toughness 5 or toughness 6. Whereas the Metamorphs have strength 5. They're going to struggle. The Biophagus gives you lethal hits. And against infantry, once per game, you can use that little guy that has the file. That little friendly little chappy. The guy holding the file there. The file. It's got gas coming out of it. That's normal in science. +1 to wound against infantry. Once per game. So the strength 5 mining tools, they get helped. The strength 5 metamorphs with their strikes, they get helped. Then you can get through your Gravis Marines, your Terminators, your Orcs, your Votan. So that's good anti-infantry, and because it's lethal hits in combat, viable anti-tank. Of course, you'll want to put the Biophagus with a unit in the Biocyclic Brood Surge so they get the detachment rule. And I wouldn't put them with Aberrants, not in that detachment. That's where you want the Abominant instead. Then you get a Strength 12, then you get a Strength 12 Big Hammer Lady. So, much better for Acolytes and Metamorphs. Most detachments are going to want them. Biocyclic Brood Surge, definitely. Fantastic in the Host of Ascension. Lethal hits, sustained hits from the detachment rule. I use Our Time is Nigh, +2 to the charge, arrive from reserves. That's 7 you've got to roll on 2d6. And you can use Primed and Readied that turn or any of the turns, though it's 2 command points, and you get critical 5s. That's lethal hits, critical 5s, whenever you want. And we're moving, we're taking objectives when we fight in combat. Whereas if you're shooting with a Benefictus and their lethal hits, you're not taking an objective at the same time. You're not denying the enemy victory points. Well, you are if you kill them, but you're not then gaining victory points unless you can move on to the objective. Fun model to make kit bashes of? Yeah, very easy to do. And there's so many heads in all of the different Genestealer Cult sprues. Like, I'm sure one of the heads on like the Goliath truck is good. Some of the Atalan jackals have very good heads. You've got like a mask and goggles, or you've got fancy goggles going over the head. You've got just neophytes. One of them has like a face covering. Great, use that. If you're playing Biocyclic Brood Surge, and I know many of you are, because I've polled you and you're like, I like it with the big guys with the big hammers and also the other guys with the not so big hammers, but they have the doctor helping them. Use the doctor that helps them. He is the medic from Team Fortress 2. If you like Xenocrete Congregation, put him with Metamorphs, put him with Acolytes. The detachment rule works on Acolytes or Metamorphs, giving them rerolls to their charge rolls, reroll to their advance rolls, as long as they have any character. Any character, they get that. It doesn't have to be the Primus, Iconward, or the Magus. People seem to think it is, and it's not. Detachment rule is for Acolytes, Metamorphs, and Neophytes. Enhancements are for those 3 characters. Very good, and I think every detachment, not necessary. There are many other characters you might want. You might want a Locust instead, you might want a Primus instead. Meet the Biophagus. So much kit bashing available. You never need to buy Genestealer Cult characters. You can buy a squad of... Well, you could buy the Brood Brothers kill team, or just a squad of Neophytes, and from that you can make an Iconward, a Biophagus, a Primus, a Kelermorph, a Reductus saboteur. It's easier when you've got the Brood Brothers kill team box because you get things like a big bomb, you get another masked face, you get a big icon that's different to all the other icons. Very good. I love mixing parts with the Genestealer Cult. Right, this guy's going to go in A tier. Up there. So you've got a good spread, Like, even these units at D tier, apart from maybe the frag drill, the Kelermorph can do things, but a Sanctus does it so much better. The Clamavus, no, he's in his right place, ignore the Clamavus, but the Jackal alphus can do things, but there's so many other better options to do the things you want to do with them. In the C tier units, like the Benefictus, the Nexus, yeah, they're not great, except in the Host of Ascension when they're rather good. The Magus isn't very good, however, put them in Xenocrete and they do much better. The Aberrants, I think, fail compared to the Metamorphs, but in the Biocyclic Brood Surge, they don't. They have the tools, the literal tools, to do the right thing and do it well. So let's do the Metamorphs. Here are the Metamorphs. The Metamorphs are very versatile. They were not good in the Index, just because of the points compared to Acolytes and Purestrains. If you want to like jump into combat and kill hordes, you would pick the Purestrains. If you want to do combat against bigger things, Acolytes with mining tools. If you just want to have all the bomb shenanigans and do the horrible meta of like, I turn up, I throw bombs, I win the game, you would use the Acolytes with demo charges. But now, they're good. They got the Surge move. That's very nice. And their points are much better compared to these other kinds. Like they're 70 points, I think. Right. Hybrid Metamorph, 70 points or 140 points. Acolytes with Hand Flamers, 70 points or 140 points. Same price point. And we know the bombs are not so good. So Metamorphs are looking good. They have Scout. That's useful. They love a truck because then when they get out of the truck, we've got full rerolls to wound from the truck's ability on their Hand Flamers. Now they have the ability of the Acolytes with Hand Flamers. They're great for fighting any kind of infantry. And like Toughness 9 tanks, you wound them on 5s, you have damage 2, you can tear apart a Rhino pretty quickly. But we have the Strength 4 attacks. If you want to pretend to be Genestealers, you can be Genestealers. If you want to pretend to be Aberrants, you have damage 2. You got a Surge move, so enemies will kind of have to stay 6 inches away from you. I like to charge out of line of sight and avoid Overwatch, so I tend not to have the Hand Flamers unless I'm transporting them in a truck. Because otherwise you turn up, you shoot the enemy, or choose not to shoot the enemy, in which case I should have had auto pistols, and then you charge them. Things like Host of Ascension with Our Time Is Nigh. But in a truck, that's good. Then you scout. Having them with auto pistols, then you've got the 6-inch surge move. Sometimes, if I have the Hand Flamers, enemies are like, you know what, maybe you won't roll a 5 or a 6. I'll shoot you with a unit, and then I'll shoot you with another unit, and that second unit shooting is what kills me. Whereas if you're contesting an objective in any way, if you have the auto pistols, you can surge from one side of the objective to the other if need be. Like the tiny tippy-toed parts of the just on the objective, and it's directly opposite, and you're tippy-toed on, and they're tippy-toed on the opposite side. Guaranteed 6-inch surge move will see you in combat and all over that objective. Do you give them a Locus for fight first or an Iconward for 4+ feel no pain? I would say the Locus for fight first, because the feel no pain, they already have a 5+ feel no pain. A 4+ feel no pain doesn't massively boost their survivability. You get hit by a damage 2 thing, you're still gonna die. You're saying S tier? Like, I can live without them. Although they can do a very similar job to the Acolytes with Hand Flamers at the same points. You don't get the reroll to wound, you only have objective control 1, so if you're dropping them on an objective, they're not as good as the Hand Flamer Acolytes. But people seem to think, someone did a good job when they upped them from the Index to the Codex. Or maybe it was just bringing everything down in line that made it better. Yeah, they go well with a truck. 4+ feel no pain, 25% chance of just surviving damage 2. I know, but how many other bullets are coming your way? They're shooting a toughness 4, like with 5 up save person. I would rather have fight first. Then that's almost total immunity from a combat enemy. The feel no pain gives you a bit more resistance to shooting. 10 metamorphs and 5 with demo charges, 1 unit of each. Oh, I'd say 1 unit of each. If you got 15, that's a good way to do it. I mean, considering how much the Acolytes with Hand Flamers and the Metamorphs with Hand Flamers look the same, you could just have one as the other. No one will know. How about for final day to survive your own nids eating you? We have a cult icon, you just bring them back, and I'm more often using it on Neophytes, because they regenerate faster. And I care less about Neophytes with auto pistols and auto guns. What if you unexpectedly went up against 18 Centurions? Yeah, it's literally the same model. Well, let's see. That's going to be very easy to beat. We have a lot of small units that can keep scoring victory points, get rid of anything that's not 18 Centurions, and then laugh at the 18 Centurions as they waddle towards you. You've got the Metamorphs to have damage 2 attacks. Centurions have 4 wounds. You get 2 of them through, you're wounding on 5s. Fine. they'll die after 2 strikes. If you want to try and kill them. You don't have to, you can just move away from them and resurgence point to keep coming back, and now you have all the objectives. And you absolutely can focus down an objective at a time to get rid of the enemy. Paul isn't catching strays. Paul continues to take direct and sustained fire from me. Next week or the week after, I need to get in contact with him, even though he's in Japan, and we will film the next episode of Bloodballed together. Probably a short one, because he is on holiday. But like, nighttime in Japan for him is daytime here, so I can do that. Or daytime for him is nighttime. Now, nighttime for me is the next day for him. It's fine. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. You'll still get your monthly Bloodballed episode. Okay, it seems like people want these in S tier. I'm not going to complain. Off we go to S tier. Yeah, hand flamers are good. More often I'll use hand flamer acolytes to do the hand flamer things. We've got deep strike, and our speed, the Genestealer Cult specialists can get to where they need to be. You want the right target, there's the target, you pick the correct cultist and use deep strike. Or drive a truck up to them. But then you can't disembark and charge in the same turn. We have no, like, assault vehicles. But with Scout, just Scout, get out. That's like 9 inches. That's like a scouting ridge runner, chat. So now we come to Big Hammer Lady. The final one. Last chance for Ko-fi tip money. Final day January video soon? Soon enough, soon enough. There's so many videos I need to do. It'll come. It'll come. In the next couple of weeks, it'll come. I don't feel like teleporting Centurions would be a huge Genestealer Cult threat since there's no central threat to focus down on. Yeah, what have we got? 10 Acolytes? Oh no, you're gonna kill 10 Acolytes. Please don't kill 10 Acolytes. But we could charge you and just cut you apart. How would you say the Feel No Pains on the Genestealer Cult rule interact with the Final Day Tyranid regen rule? Now this is where we come to English UK compared to English GW. Games Workshop has this thing on several units that you roll a dice, something happens, you take some wounds, and then that many wounds are restored. The that many refers to the dice roll, not the number that was overall caused. As I understand it. I absolutely can and absolutely did read it as, okay, you roll a dice, you got 3, and then all of them are passed with Feel No Pains, so you didn't actually lose any wounds, and that number is what you regenerate. It could go either way, but I think it's meant to be, though we haven't got an FAQ on it, or errata or any such, it's meant to be the number that you rolled on the dice. Right. What do we need for 11th edition? Well, if we can just keep using the Brood Brothers units in our army as we used to be able to, have some of them in the Codex, and I don't mean the way they are in like the Dark Eldar Codex or the Eldar Codex, where you've got these units but you can only use them in some detachments, and you've got like the Chaos Cult books, like Emperor's Children, there's Slanesh stuff there, but you can only have them sometimes in one of the detachments. Don't like that, don't like that. I want them all the time. Just give us an all the time Rogel Dawn. No, let's say Lehman Russ. Let's say Lehman Russ. Sentinel with Powerlifter works. That's a good one. Yeah, I did really like that 25%, where I could just say, not quite at 3,000 points, but that's almost everything I have that's good. Yeah, let's throw in a Rogel Dawn. Radical Inquisitor allies, that's interesting. Yeah, 25% all the time and 50% for Brood Brothers attachment would be good, and we do have a very small roster that could do with a little bit of boosting. Even if they'd said, okay, just specific units, like they used to have Brood Brothers Infantry Squad, Sentinels, the Lehman Russ, heavy weapon teams I think were also in there. Yeah, and it was pretty much those 4 and Chimeras. That was what you got. We need another single character release. Yeah. Yeah. But our super heavy thing, what? We have the Tectonic frag drill. We have the big mining drill. We could have a super heavy tank with a drill on the front. Oh wait, we have that. That's the rock grinder. It's just not super heavy. Okay, big hammer lady. Thank you very much, Brandon Stone. Is there a lore reason why no Ogrins are rattlings? No, they're not particularly resistant. I just don't know exactly why. They're human, or basically human after all. So I don't think it's a lore thing. You absolutely could have a whole Ogren detachment. Yeah, they get genestealered, and they live together on an Ogren planet, but as a genestealer coven. Yeah, you can make the Brood Brothers units more expensive when you use them wherever. Maybe Genestealer Cult snipers. It would be all the little acolyte-y, no, the tiny... What are they called? The ones that are stuck with the Biophagus and the Patriarch. Those that are made of like psychic stuff and just turn up. The warp things, the psychic familiars. Yeah, just them with sniper rifles. That's an interesting idea. We have enough snipers though. We have enough snipers. Genestealer Cult Felinids? I mean, the Genestealer Cult horses, Genestealer Cult war beasts. Even bigger mutant character, but we have the Abominant. Mining servitors. Yeah, we could do with like the equivalent of a heavy weapon squad. Just get 3 guys with heavy weapons. That'd work. That'd work. Many things to do. Other than, what kind of character do we not have? An assassin. We definitely don't have an assassin. Let's add another assassin. Or a forward planning committee. Oh, and they tie up the enemy with bureaucracy, and so they have the aura of deceit. Do a golem thing. This joins the enemy army. And they can't hit it, but you get to move it. But it's treated as like a friendly unit, and they can't use stratagems on it. Bring back the limo? Yeah, flyer. I don't think a flyer really suits us. Stealth flight? No. We're definitely underground. We're definitely the underdogs. It's all local resistance groups. What if it was a mid-range assassin who throws bombs? Crazy times. I'm thinking something like a spore mine, but it's an acolyte, and it jumps into the enemy, and then you can choose to detonate it, or not. But you can detonate it. Oh yeah, there's a character with an ability we don't have. We can spread that out across 2 characters. Absolutely. You know the Games Workshop way. Lethal hits in combat, Biophagus. Lethal hits at shooting, Benefictus. A burrowing mine transport. They already exist in Forge World. We could have one of them. Rattlings, flying gargoyles. Yeah? Yeah. We already have enough deep striking units. I think we're covered. We'll only get more. Upgrades through. Single cowboy hat. I like it. Right, what do we got with the Abominant? Winged Genestealers? No, I don't think we want to get into the Genestealer mutants because we are Purestrains. We could do this. Right, let's talk about the Big Hammer Lady. The Big Hammer Lady being the last character. They can do fine without the Aberrants. They can go and smash things with their Strength 12 las cannon hammer. 4 attacks. You can get more attacks in the Biosanctum Brood Surge if you are leading Aberrants. But you have to be leading Aberrants. They don't get the detachment rule because Abominant is not listed among them, only Aberrant is listed among them. You can have them turn up. I've had her complete missions before. I know she's twice the cost of Acolytes, nearly twice the cost. Okay, not far off twice the cost. At some point was like twice the cost of Acolytes, but turn up and hit the enemy. If you don't hit the enemy, do an action, score some victory points. Get shot, come back to life. She is Celestine. Comes back on a 2+, so she's hard to keep down. You get the Fight on Death ability if you're leading Aberrants. It's a shame we can't have them leading other characters. I mean, leading other units. I would love Fight on Death with Metamorphs or Acolytes with mining tools. Is there any point to bringing more than one Aberrant? Do you mean Abominant? Because yeah, there's absolutely reasons to. That's more ladies going around with big hammers. Otherwise, you use Aberrants in the Biosanctuary Brood Surge. And yeah, she's good and probably best in the Biosanctuary Brood Surge, but she's tanky enough that she can do well other places. Potential for sustained hits with Final Days in Human Integration, or with the Host of Ascension detachment rule. We used to have sustained hits in the Index. Many people going around smashing with hammers is good. Metamorphs that fight on death? Yeah, well, they used to. Hey, it's not that nuts. In the Index, the Metamorphs had fight on death 3+. That was their thing. 3 Abominants and a Rock Grinder? We're getting very expensive. I would like at least one of them to Deep Strike. In Final Day, you can get +1 to hit with just being near Tyranids. Oh, in the Host of Ascension, give her Assassination Edict. Use Epic Challenge and go and smash some characters. That works so well. If you want to hold an objective, one big hammer is going to be able to endure a lot more than 5 Acolytes. Unless I'm swarmed by cultists with higher objective control. Unless I'm hit by multiple las cannons. The Venga bus is 1 Goliath with combat characters, another full of ranged characters. You would play that in the Outlander Claw. That's where you do it. You could give it a go. Some of these meme lists that I've been trying out, sometimes people are like, hey, I'll give you 100 quid if you take this list at an event. Or just play it a bunch of times. And I do. And sometimes it can work really well. It's great to be like, okay, let's try the meme list. If you play 40k enough that it's actually worth it. If you play once a month, maybe you want to stick to the core stuff and not go on crazy tangents with unusual lists. But you can learn a lot about a unit by doing a meme list version. Love and appreciate the meme list. Yeah, I'm putting her in A tier. You don't need an Abominant. But I like having an Abominant. She's pretty much an auto take in my Host of Ascension list, my Biosanctuary Brood Surge list, my Final Day list. Not in Outlander Claw, not in Brood Brothers Auxilia. We have actual big las cannons in that detachment. I also prefer 1 Abominant over 5 Aberrants. Yeah. We can do a lot more. And up in oh yeah, it's a smaller base. It's a 40mm base compared to 5 32mm bases of Acolytes. You can fit in the corner. Like right back in the enemy's deployment zone, and then they're like, there's a big lady there and she's got a big hammer and she's doing something. Why is she doing something? She's getting command points. No, she's getting victory points. I don't like that. We can't stop her, and then she's going to hit us with a big hammer. I do hope that is no one's fetish. Yeah, she's wonderful. Okay. Have we been on for 2 hours now? I think we've been on for nearly 2 hours of playing this, running this. No, wait, we've been on for nearly 3 hours. Okay, I think we're coming to the end now. Choice between Abominant and a second Gargoyle unit in Final Day? Oh, I'd take a second Gargoyle unit. You can drop in, you can shoot and then move if you need to get closer to an enemy unit, so you can give that Catalyst aura. Emperor for big hammer ladies have hobbies, yeah. But Gargoyles, I would have more Gargoyles for sure. Another squad of 10 Gargoyles. I hope you weren't doing a squad of 20 Gargoyles, that's too much. But a squad of 10 Gargoyles, that's good. Or you could have Captain Flappy Bat. Pretty cheap, about 65 points. Winged Alpha. Fights on Death. Also a 40mm base. Might be bigger, might be a 50mm base. I think it's a 50mm base. Yeah. Turn up, do actions. Also has Deep Strike. Cheaper. We like our Captain Flappy Bat. Oh, I'm getting a lot of catchphrases going. Any other comments people have? Any other thoughts? Anything else people want to mention? Otherwise, I've just got a lot of, hey, what about 60 Battle Sisters? Advance and charge. Where are my Celestians Games Workshop? Where's my Celestians with guns? We love Big Hammer Lady. Legends, use legends. I have been playing since 2nd edition. You know the Sisters of Battle? Well, there's also the Battle Sisters in the Imperial Agents. The Battle DJ is not real. Oh look, a sudden French village. Drop cathedrals and have a great day of 40k. Captain Flappy Bat worth it for Avenger Star Children? Yeah. Yeah. And free with issue 1 of the Combat Patrol magazine. Well, it's like £3, but yes, you can absolutely get a full unit of them. I wonder if they'll do Tyranid Shrikes, and then just buying lots of them was a good idea. A lot of Battle Sister bits? Yeah, we could do it from any Space Marine character. Big chunky Gravis fellow? That could work. There's a weird knowledge gap of 8th and 9th there. Yeah, I can see that. I know, Soupy rules not in flux, but what happened was Games Workshop got very, very scared by 8th edition. In 8th edition, you could do Big Soup. So a lot of, like, the standard tournament army was an Imperial Knight, 2 Space Marine captains with jump packs and thunderhammers, like 32 Imperial Guardsmen, which was 2 junior officers, 3 squads, because then you filled out a detachment and you got loads of extra command points. And then, by the way, this is an Adeptus Sororitas army. So, it was an odd one. You're afraid to buy things for like Brood Brothers and Final Day in case it gets removed. Yeah, I would say it's much more for people who already have those armies. Otherwise, you got 4 detachments for the Genestealer Cult. Rank the Crucible characters. Okay. Let's rank the Crucible characters. Where's my Crucible? Crucible of Champions. Now, where did I save that? Because I haven't got the book yet. I've just got the PDF leaky bit. Did I save it there? Here we are, Crucible of Champions. Right. So we're going to the Genestealer Cult. Genestealer Cult, culty Genestealer Cult. Where are you in this PDF? I can't find you because you're deep striking, you're hiding underground. Where's my Genestealer Cult people? Probably at the end. Here we are. Alright, the first one, I haven't got these to put on screen. But the first one is the Cult Insurrectionist, which is a character which is like a Primus but gives you full rerolls to hit. They might be better than a Primus. Remember that these archetype characters cannot have enhancements. So you're missing like a chink in their armor. But they can lead hybrids, acolyte hybrids, the other kind, and the metamorphs or the neophytes. So it's 80 points for basically a Primus, toughness 3, 4 wounds. That's probably going to be in A tier. Do you want full rerolls to hit somewhere? Great. Do it. Yeah, the lack of auxiliaries is not good for the Tau either. Yeah, they also can't double up. Because it's not like you have this character and also this. Every Crucible character better than the Magus. Well, we have our first one, which is a basically better Primus, but you don't get the redeploy. I'm pretty sure you don't get the redeploy. What are their abilities? Optional abilities. You can have them on a bike. Great, but then you can only join Jackal bikers. You can have them blessed. Oh, then you can join Aberrant. Do you want full reroll to hit on your Aberrants? Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Melee weapons are anti-infantry 3+ on all models in the unit. So we can have full rerolls to hit anti-infantry 3+. You can instead have If you're not part of an attached unit, move 6 inches. No, we want this in a unit. You can move into strategic reserves as an option. Good. We'll do that with a different character. Shadow Killer. If you're not part of an attached unit, then you can do Overwatch. No. No, we're not doing that. Oh no, enemy units cannot fire Overwatch. That's the one. Enemy units cannot fire Overwatch if you are not equipped with a ranged weapon. Or we can undo Battle Shock. Nah. Twisted Science for lethal hits. Full rerolls to hit and lethal hits. Now we're talking. Now we put them in the Host of Ascension. Full rerolls to hit. Sustained hits, lethal hits right there. That's good. That's a good one. We don't want the Clamavus ability, Voice of New Truths. And then give them good combat weapons. Give them... You don't need to do Toxin Claw Injector. Just Bio Dagger. 6 attacks and infantry 3+ precision. That's probably the best one. Or you got a heavy mining tool, damage 3, hits on a 3+, strength 5, anti-vehicle 2+. You can give them the metamorph mutations. Have like a metamorph leader that gives the unit anti-infantry 3+. And also fully rolls to hit. Very good character. They're going to be an A tier one. The Cult Gorilla is our stealthy, not quite a Reductus, not quite a Sanctus, stealthy person. They've got infiltrators, they've got deep strike, they've got lone operative, they've got stealth. They can join units though. They will lose the stealth because you need every model in the unit to have stealth. And infiltrators only works if every model in the unit has it. Lone operative only works if you're alone. You can't be a group of lone operatives, even though you sort of can. I'm sure there's rules for it. On some units, be like, yeah, this one's a lone operative rule. Because it's a rule. Rather than having to be alone. And they have the Nexus ability. Command thing is cheaper. So one stratagem is cheaper by 1 command point. But we can join units, great. So wherever you'd put a Nexus, you instead put the Cult Gorilla. And then use them with Atalan Jackals. And then we have a very good Outlander Claw. Use them with Aberrants. Oh good. Now we're good in the Biosanctuary Brood Surge. Cheaper stratagems. Then you can give them Blessed Venom for anti-infantry 3+, which they probably only have, so don't bother with that one. Instead, how about we go with the Twisted Science, lethal hits. Good. That can be good. Or instead we have another lone operative character. Maybe you put them with like 5 Acolytes, and when the Acolytes die, we're back to being lone operative. Any shots that were still to be resolved would carry over into the character. It's not like, stop! I'm alone now. I'm alone. No, no hurty. Don't hurt me. It's all fine. It's not fine. It's bad, and they're gonna die. Yeah, they're a good character. Give them the Cult Sniper Rifle, which is the best version, or give them, like, 3 Hand Flamers. Sounds fun. Or give them the Bio Dagger and the Sniper, and have an even better Sanctus than the Sanctus. And the last character is the Voice of the Patriarch. Oh, they'd be an A tier, by the way. Yeah. A tier, if not S tier. Because they're alone, and they're really cheap, like 60 points. They can do grenades for free, basically, because 1 command point fewer stratagem. Yeah, S tier. Gave your Cult Insurrectionist the Heavy Mining Tool with Blessed Venom, so it can lead Mining Tool Acolytes, Anti-Infantry 3+, Anti-Vehicle 4+. I like it. I like it a lot. The best version of the Jackal alphus. A custom Jackal alphus. Yes. The Voice of the Patriarch's the last one. They have the Benefictus ability, ranged weapons, have lethal hits. They can join the same unit. 70 points, but with 4 wounds, so that's better than the Benefictus already. Then you could have them on a dirt cycle. Nah, you don't need that. You don't need them with Aberrants either, because it's ranged weapons get the lethal hits. You could have them with a unit that's good at shooting and combat, but I don't think there is such a unit that doesn't just have hand flamers. So there's no point giving lethal hits at range and in combat. But think of like Host of Ascension things. So do you want to have... I mean, Psychic Spoor? You could target an enemy with the Las Cannon Brain. You can have the Las Cannon Brain. You are the Psyker, so you're the only one that can have the Las Cannon Brain. What's it called? Psionic Cascade. Have to be a Psyker, has to be this character doing it. Yeah, give them Psychic Spoor. Now it only applies to that model. It doesn't apply to the whole unit. Pick one enemy unit to be this model's prey. Each time this model makes an attack that targets its prey, reroll hit rolls and wound rolls. You could be alone. There's no way to get lone operative. No, but driving around with a las cannon, essentially, on your head. Not a bad idea. On a bike. No, put them in a unit. Host of Ascension. Yeah, lethal hits at ranged. And, I don't know, you've got... Oh, yes, I know the one we want. Insidious Evasion. At the end of your opponent's fight phase, put them back into reserves. That's what you do. Insidious Invasion in Host of Ascension. Hop up. Shoot. We have lethal hits. We have sustained hits. We have ignore cover. Disappear again at the end of the enemy turn for free. Doesn't cost you command points. Go again. And have a bio dagger. Of course, have a bio dagger. Yeah, you can make a character on a quad bike. That'd be fun. That fits. There's nothing to say which base size you have to use. It's kind of vague and you're meant to know which base size you're using because it says right at the start you can use a base size one bigger but not one smaller. Oh, what's bigger than oval? I guess the bigger circle? It's only like 40 millimeters. It might be 50 millimeters for the wolf quad. It's quite a chunky piece. 60 millimeters. All right. Yeah. It's bigger. It's bigger. That could work. So they're fun. They're fun. Hey, they're all going to be A tier because you can do the best of things, if not S tier. Is artillery any good in the Brood Brothers, like in a field ordnance battery or mortar heavy weapon team? If they're good, generally, although you won't be able to get orders to +1 to hit, it can work. Sanctus on a bike with 3 scoped needle pistols? It's a needle pistol. How good's a needle pistol? Scoped needle pistol. Doesn't have precision, but anti-infantry 2+, D3 damage. No AP, which is the unfortunate thing. 3 hand flamers might go down better. Just as an option. Yeah, it's the Primus gun. Yeah, I was trying to remember the stats. Because it might have been different. It might have been different. They might have had precision somehow. But I know the one you mean. Yeah, if artillery is good, generally, then you can take it. The field ordnance battery, if you issue an order to them, they get sustained hits. We're not going to issue an order to them, so they're not as good. The Krieg big gun... No, I think you probably still want the field ordnance battery to have, like, damage 2 stuff. Or you can have a Basilisk that can slow the enemy. That might be better. Mortar teams are just very cheap and cheerful. Sit them on your home objective, shoot mortar. They're strength 5, if I remember correctly. Pretty good range, 48-inch range. Yeah, I would use them. Hurts some stuff, especially light infantry. Right, before I knew it, we've done 3 hours of this video. Okay, I think that's a good place to stop. We've had fun. We've ranked our Genestealer Cult characters. Importantly, I got money, which I really appreciate. Thank you for that. So have a great day of 40k.